welcome back to Splice and Splatter, the wet and, in my case, rainy podcast where classic horror
meets modern gore.
We're your hosts. I'm Siena.
And I'm Al.
And we're talking about water horror today, and I'm recording in the middle of a monsoon underneath a tin roof. So if you hear faint pitter-patters in the background, my apologies, and just know that our desert needs it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was saying off mic that I'm very jealous because we're back in the heat wave here for a couple days, so I'd give nothing. We get rain this week, like in the weekend, but yeah, I think all of us need a little bit of rain. And I'm actually happy that we picked these two then and now.
Yes, agreed. It was just the cool off we needed, especially after it. And I don't know what your research experience was like. I had so much less material to work with than usual, which I did eventually find some really cool stuff.
Okay.
But it was significantly lighter than it was for, by comparison, it. So
yeah, I was wondering. I'd never seen your film.
Yeah,
which we're covering Deep Blue Sea and Dead Calm for this one. We're going into the oceans today. But I had never seen it, so I didn't really know. Like, I knew there were 3 characters, but I didn't really know how it was beyond that. And I'm like, oh wow, that's just 3 characters. They are just in the ocean. They are just on this boat. Nobody else. So
nothing
I was
else.
Curious.
Yeah, and one of those characters is left all on his own for most of the movie.
Oh my god, right.
Which, oh my god, also the eeriness. I know. I feel like we need to dedicate this episode to Sam Neill. Like, we were watching Dead Calm, which I'd seen before and loved. But Dana and I were watching it like late at night a couple nights ago when I got a news alert on my phone because I subscribed to the New York Times like email like newsletter, and it was the news that Sam Neill had passed, and he was in close up in Dead Calm at the time that I got that. And it was just like, ugh.
Yeah. It was same. I got a text. My best friend Liz, like in our group chat with her, we and our friend Judy, we always like pass around. It's always that's where I find my breaking news is from typically Liz within the group chat of the 3 of us. And so I woke up and it was like 6 a.m. and Liz had texted, "Oh my god, no, Sam Neill." And I was like,
no.
I don't want to read whatever article you just sent. And I was watching the film that morning.
Oh my god,
like that was what my plan was. So in the same way, and then I was like, damn, we always talk about this podcast like manifesting weird shit, and I was like, no, this is a bad one.
Manifest that.
This is a bad one. I love him so much.
And he was such a wonderful human being too, and like did so much good in the world. And like,
I know we needed him. He was my like little light. I feel like sometimes. So big sad.
So that's I just anybody who listened to the last episode knows that we planned this pairing before that news broke, but it just really, I feel like I need to reiterate that we did not plan this knowing that would happen.
No. It was fun to see him in this. We covered him on our Possession episode too. So that one is like, what did he say? That was one of his favorite movies he said that was his entire life.
The hardest movie he ever made and his personal favorite.
Yeah. So that's a goodie is at Siena. So if you're looking to kind of hear more about him in that too, we have that episode.
There's more Sam Neill content.
We can talk about him.
Me too. I'm glad that we get to sing his praises, even if I hate the reason. Yeah.
That was big bummer horror news.
Big sad. But we're not talking about Sam Neill up first. We've got Dead Blue Sea up first.
Yeah, we're really we're starting off silly, goofy, but
we sure are.
In kind of 1999, I was kind of joking that I'm like hovering around this 90s era, which I think next episode it sounds like I'm
actually yes,
right where I am.
Same here. I didn't even realize. Yeah,
I think my like last 3 have.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Listen, I'm happy to be here in the world that we're living in. Keep me in the 90s.
Honestly,
But kind of different than you. I had so many notes for this.
I'm so glad. I had a feeling there would be a lot of material for yours, especially because I imagine that I'm just gonna go out on a wild limb here and say probably a much bigger budget.
Oh my God, it's
So
wild. I also want to shout out, I have a show and tell for you.
oh my god,
I
yes.
finally purchased, I owned it on, like, I owned the DVD of Deep Blue Sea originally,
Mhm.
but I just picked up the, what is it, the Arrow, like
Oh,
4K Blu-ray.
nice.
Fun fact, even though it says Blu-ray, you have to have a 4K
Oh,
player.
no. I just ran
I do
into this
not.
the other day with,
Oh, knife through my
Deep
heart.
Red. I
Oh,
know.
knife. And I looked up those motherfuckers. Not cheap.
Yep. It's
Not
really
cheap.
upsetting. I know.
How dare they? So it was frustrating because on Wikipedia,
Mhm.
when looking at the sources for everything, it linked being like, oh, watch this on the DVD extra
No.
features. And so I was like,
Ugh.
oh, sick. I'm
I've
gonna
got
put this
everything I
on. I've
need.
got
This is gonna be
everything I
so
need.
easy.
I did not. So
No. Oh,
yeah,
that's
I'm
so heartbreaking.
sorry to hear that you've hit the
Yes.
same
I I just
realization.
naively assumed that getting the 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays of movies would just mean that I would be able to play the best version of that
Mhm.
Blu-ray on my fucking Blu-ray player.
Mhm. Yep.
Um, and
Yep.
apparently I'm already too old to understand this
Yep.
technology, which is so scary.
Like when did that enter the
I
chat, the
know.
4K?
I
So
know.
anyways, I found some on YouTube.
Oh,
I'm sure
good.
there's more on this. One day I will be able to watch it. My excitement just plummeted. But I have so many notes.
Oh, I'm so excited.
There is a lot on this movie, and I was pleasantly surprised
Oh,
to
good.
read about it. So
Good. Well, we'll have a nice top-heavy
yeah.
time this episode.
Yes, yeah.
Um, do you have a tidbit to start us off with?
I do. It's for like the first time in months.
Oh,
I feel like I have one.
love.
It's not connecting any movies
That's so
together, but
fun.
is a fun one kind of for you. A little tiny little treat.
Love.
So, do you have one as well?
I just had a stupid observation about the starts of both of our movies, which is that you can really um tell which of the two movies is the Al movie and which is the Siena movie based on which one has tits in the first minute, as opposed to which one has dead kids in the first minute. Um, and that really does describe
That's
our two different horror tastes.
listen. They're both great.
Yes.
Love a death immediately with some
Uh-huh.
teens in the beginning.
I just realized, like, I've had so many, like, parents mourning dead kids the past few episodes that I've covered that, like, I
Yeah, yeah.
had
I
to.
mean, listen, I want to save my thoughts about how well, I don't. That was like the funniest fucking
Oh, I
kid
know.
death I've ever
It's
seen in my life.
this movie would be so much better if it lost, like, the first 5 minutes of the last one. But that's a rant for later
Yeah.
in the
Yeah, yeah,
episode.
yeah.
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 Tell me your tidbit.
My little
Yeah.
tidbit is in a 2021 Bloody Disgusting article,
Oh,
there
love.
was a different original title for Deep Blue Sea, which
Oh.
was actually, I'm like, do you want to take a guess?
Oh my
Or shall I
god.
just share?
Is it I feel like
Anybody
it's I
feel?
was gonna say I wonder if it's like a connection between our movies because
It's
mine
not.
also because mine also has an alternate title that kind of connects ours a little bit. Um
Mine is a birthday pick of yours from last year, a couple years ago. Deep Red was
what?
a title that it was
Oh, that's
given.
wild.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I
Is that
mean,
funny?
I'm glad
Would
they
have been
didn't because it would
wrong.
have been very confusing, but
Absolutely. Absolutely.
really satisfying to hear that. Oh, I
Yeah.
love
Yeah. I was like, oh,
that.
cute.
What a great little tid.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts, but I'm gonna save our thoughts for
Yes.
the end
My
of this
my
because I feel
lips
like
are
there's a
sealed.
fun, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a fun, I don't know. Some of the responses to this, and I feel like this is one of those movies that I feel like I hyped this up a lot. I'm very excited to talk about this. This is such a fun movie for me, and I knew bits about the making of, but
Mhm.
I think from like honestly news
Oh,
bits that used to be
interesting.
on back in the day.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm gonna
Fun. Dive in.
dive right
Yes.
in with the shark. So we have our taglines.
Oh,
They
I knew
could
this would have good
again, yeah,
taglines. Like,
yeah,
it has to.
they're from 1999.
Yeah.
We have bigger, smarter, faster, meaner.
Oh my god.
Yes, as it should be.
Feels like a tagline for Mean Girls, actually.
Listen, it could be put on a lot of films from the 90s, early 2000s. We have 5 more. We
Oh my
have
God.
we have Welcome to the Endangered Species List. Great.
Okay, that's fun. That's really fun.
Your worst fear is about to surface.
Oh
It's great.
God.
I can hear that
Amazing.
in the trailer.
Yeah. In that
We
90s
have
trailer announcer voice.
Yes. We have Beneath the Glassy Surface, there's a world of gliding monsters.
Oh my God, that line.
Horrible. We don't need to say gliding. That feels weird.
It's even in the movie that line felt weird.
Yeah.
I had to
that
pause
was
and be like, was did
necessary? No.
Yes. This
Funny?
didn't end up on the cutting room
Yeah.
floor? Yeah, true.
Listen. And then I realized that was my last one. I just had one duplicated. So
Oh,
we
great.
ended on
Love.
the worst of all of them. Jumping right in, we have our director, Rennie Harlan, who kind of broke into the Hollywood scene on Nightmare on Elm Street 4 in 88.
Oh.
And then
I
he
was
went
thinking his
into
name seemed familiar from the horror realms. Yeah.
pinning that we'll get to
Oh
in
no.
like 2 seconds.
Great.
So
Fabulous.
from that, because I was wondering how he kind of like got onto the scene. He then went on to direct Die Hard 2, Cliffhanger,
Oh.
Mindhunters, Exorcist the Beginning, Devil's Past, and then most recently he's been doing the revamp of The Strangers 1, 2, and 3, which we know
Oh no.
I will probably not be seeing.
Yeah.
And if his name rings a bell, it's because we did briefly talk about him on our holiday episode when we talked about Jack Frost. Because originally he was the one signed on to direct it, but his then girlfriend Gina Davis told him not to because she wanted to do Cutthroat Island, which was a pirate movie and is, I think, in Hollywood the most notorious of like the biggest Hollywood blockbuster flop ever of all time.
Incredible.
I have
not that
seen
Jack
it
Frost
since.
did great, but
Right.
how
I mean,
was it?
listen. It was truly one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And I watch a lot of bad movies, but
Yeah.
I find them fun. It was
Right.
truly atrocious from start to finish.
And not
I've
even in a
never
fun way.
hated Gina Davis more in my
Oh
life.
my God. I
She
didn't
was
even know it was
atrocious.
possible.
I didn't know it was possible either. Yeah, it deserves all the hate that it gets.
Oh
and
God.
I don't know, other than this
that's
movie,
awful.
I know, other than this movie, I don't know if he's ever made anything that I'm going to see or going to like. So, you know.
Wow, what a career.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He also, I think it's funny, he dipped his little director toes right back into the ocean. He did Deep Water starring Aaron Eckhart, Lucky Barrett, and then Ben Kingsley.
Interesting. So he's living in this water horror realm.
Oh my God. Not only that, back in 99, when he was, I don't know if it was like pre-production or production, he was going to do an adaptation of Steve Alten's The Meg, which was in development by Disney's Hollywood Pictures.
Oh my
But now
God.
we know The Meg to be a 2018 horror movie with, I think, Rainn Wilson starring it. I put it on the other day too, just because it like rolled right into it. But I think it's so funny that he likes to hover around this deep water shark world and was offered that. So I'm really curious of the story of The Meg.
Yeah.
Supposedly being made in 99.
There? And I also
like
wonder, is Deep Blue Sea the story that got him out of director jail from the pirate movie?
I'm assuming it did.
That's
because it did not fail at the box office.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah. Very interesting. I can't really say neither here nor there of my feelings about this man as a director. I think he's like
Super
very
fair.
hit or miss, but I do love this movie. So he gets a win in my book. He gets a lot of shame through Cutthroat Island. If you want to have I wouldn't even recommend watching it for fun. It's not even fun.
Oh my God. That's really, really bad.
Yeah,
wow.
A really expensive, awful time is what you're going to sign up for. So on the flip side of that, we do have writers, but we have Duncan Kennedy as our main writer. He is the creator of Deep Blue Sea and the Deep Blue Sea verse. This is really only his claim to fame. This and the sequels that come after it.
Gotcha.
And then a movie called Bait, which is also about sharks. And then
so all the people on this
just
Just are
love
they get one
sharks.
taste of shark and they
Oh, yeah.
can't leave it
Listen, the
alone.
blood's in the water. They can't let that scent go. They are here. They are predatory with these movies.
Oh my god.
But we love Duncan. And Deep Blue Sea was conceived. He's an Australian screenwriter, so that makes a
Okay.
lot of sense. It kind of the seed of this movie started when he witnessed a horrific shark attack on the beach near his home in Queensland
Oh my
when he was a
god.
kid in the 80s. So I'm like, I can only imagine that having a really big impact because he was a child when this
That's
happened.
so frightening. Yeah.
And after having that experience, witnessing that, he kept having reoccurring nightmares
Oh
about the experience.
no.
So I have a quote from him talking about this, and everyone I feel like knows at this point we love films, ideas, creations that come from dreams. I mean, you very much love
Oh yeah,
anything
100%.
dream world related. So he recalls his dream or his nightmare, saying, "quote I remember it in great detail. Limbs bitten off." Oh, this is sorry, this is the accident he's talking about, and
Oh,
then
okay,
goes
great.
into the dream.
Amazing.
So he talks about saying, "I remember it in great detail. Limbs bitten off, police officer wearing pants rolled up, pulling the pale body onto the beach.
Oh
From
my
this, I got
god.
reoccurring. I know, I'm like, ugh. Remembering
Poor
details of like
kid.
pants being cuffed and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Ugh.
that's in
That's
you."
yeah, that's how you can tell it's real traumatic.
So he said, "From this, I got reoccurring nightmares of being chased in chest deep flooded hallways where I could move but not fast enough by
Oh
sharks that were
man.
always one step ahead of me inside my head." So this obviously
Ugh.
was a movie that helped him kind of process this nightmare,
Yeah,
which sounds like the
wow.
most quintessential nightmare that you would have as a
Absolutely.
child after this.
I had like a very similar nightmare, but in my case it was about crocodiles. Did you have anything like
Mm.
this?
I had a reoccurring dream where I was going over a zip line in my backyard at night. And something
Oh.
I'm too old to remember it now, but I had it for years as a child, went to therapy about it. Nothing came of it, I guess. But something was like jumping up at me, and it was my childhood home. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's so scary.
Yeah. I think a lot of
Ooh.
us creative types kind of have
Mhm.
something that holds in a
Absolutely.
reoccurring dream. So
Yeah.
he's one of us. He also had other real life inspirations for Deep Blue Sea as well. So not
Ah,
as traumatic, I would think, than
okay,
that.
good. Glad that
Um,
we're
yeah, we're
calming
moving a
down
little
from
out of
there.
trauma back into like, oh, that makes sense why like this side of it would come. So the
Mhm.
horror side came from that story and that
Great.
reoccurring nightmare and experience. The I think foundation for Deep Blue Sea comes from this. So him and his wife Rebecca were taking a trip. They were like at this little resort on the Great Barrier Reef. And so
Mhm.
he booked a rental of like this small boat to take them to a tiny island just I think off the coast of where the resort
Mhm.
was. And so while they were there, they recalled everyone on the beach screaming, "Shark, shark, shark." And so they look over and he talks about witnessing this huge shark that came in chasing fish and
Whoa.
feed in this feeding frenzy. So not anything people related.
Oh my god.
And how his head was just, like above water. They could
Yeah.
see the shark really well, which I was like, what a dream to see that
Yeah.
happen.
Oh,
I've never
I mean, that's
witnessed a
gotta be
shark.
beautiful. Like, I'm
Right?
sure
I'm
it's
like,
scary, but they're so
sure, but it's their
cute.
home. I
I
know.
know. I
I was like,
really
I have a
I
shark
always
tooth tattoo on my hand. I have a
oh,
shark on my body. I
I
love
always
them.
I always joke that Theodore has shark eyes, and so, like, I when I see them, I
Oh,
just find them very cute. I'm
they're
like,
so
"Yeah,
cute.
it's just my
I love
cat."
sharks. I
Like
know. They're just like they're little water cats.
yeah, they
Very, very
really
sharp teeth.
are.
They just want
Yeah.
consent. That's
It's
all they
true.
want. I love sharks. I will fight to the death to defend sharks. I love them so
Same.
much.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they're seeing these sharks, they're just feeding and doing what sharks do.
Yeah, they're
And
just
then
living their shark
they're
life.
just living their lives, eating food, and he recalls this kind of happening. He said, "We didn't want to lose our booking with the boat, so we went out 10 minutes later," which I'm like, I love, that's so cunty.
Amazing.
They got halfway to the island. It got a little bit rough with the water. I don't know if it was because of the feeding frenzy with the shark or just the water in
Mhm.
general. He said the shark was presumably under us somewhere. When we arrived below us, we saw eerie tunnels from this abandoned underwater observatory that remained. Yeah,
Whoa.
So he says very like nightmarish
Oh
hallways.
my
He said days
God.
later we stayed on a beef farm, which I'm like, what were they doing as a couple going on these
Yeah,
vacations?
that's not a fun vacation spot.
That used genetically modified growth hormone shots for
Why
the
are they doing
beef
this on their
that
vacation?
made them more aggressive. I don't know if that was part of their
Oh my
vacation
God.
so
I
much as
choose to
they're just
believe that it is.
they were like, let's go on all these weird listen, I don't know. I feel like if she's I don't know who his wife is, but I'm like, if they're creative people or if
Yeah,
she's also in the film
I
industry, I
imagine
could
she's also having
see
a blast with that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, was she location scouting for somewhere? So, between all of these very random things,
That's
beef
so wild.
farm, underwater laboratory, and witnessing a death as
Oh
a
my
kid. This is how
God.
we get
Oh,
deep blue
that'll
sea.
do
And
it.
that's
Yeah.
so, I mean, if that doesn't set you up for like what this movie is,
Oh my God. Yeah.
don't know what to tell you. It
Perfect mix of
makes
tones for the film we get
right?
to.
It makes so much sense.
It really does.
Yeah. And so the research they did do a lot of research for this film as well. Duncan talks about it how he had a treatment and screenplay. It took about like 4 weeks each for him to do those
Mhm.
two things. And then he did spend additional weeks talking to scientists at various
Mhm.
places, but most prominently the Moat Marine Laboratory and Aquarium in Sarasota, Florida,
Oh.
who were at the time conducting cancer research while also covering shark physiology, and which was
Aw.
for them like really scientifically new. So it was this big thing. And I'd like to know, I used to grow up going there almost every summer
Oh,
for
that's so
like a
cute.
decade, and it's an
Wow.
amazing facility. If you have the chance to go at some point, go. They still do so much research. They're like a really big hub, and I just love them, and I
That's
always
so cool.
forget that I have that little attachment to this.
Love
So
that.
he spent a lot of time there. And Duncan also talks about how when he initially was researching the film and talking to
Mhm.
scientists, a lot of them, he was like worried about them being hesitant and said that the people at the moat agreed to talk to him because about sharks specifically because he
Mhm.
presented the sharks in the screenplay as man-made, unlike Jaws
Mm.
demonized. So he kind of like wriggled his way
That makes
through to be
sense.
like,
Yeah.
no, 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 humans are the awful ones in this, not the
Mhm.
sharks. We feel bad for the sharks. The sharks aren't the villains.
I
So
do feel bad for that.
I
One of my notes from the film
know.
is I'm rooting for the sharks.
Yeah, I mean, listen, same. I'm always gonna be rooting for the sharks, even in
Yeah,
Jaws. I'm like,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
get
even
them.
in Jaws, I'm rooting for the shark, but especially here, like, especially, listen, I know I'm so easy, but the fact that they're all female sharks, I'm like, let her
Yeah, let's go,
leave
girls.
her alone.
I know, it's
It's a
like it's
shark
not
good
their
for her
fault.
movie.
It is, and they do get out at the end.
Of
Um,
course.
I
Obviously,
know,
there's more than 3 sharks. Come
I know,
on.
I know. That's why we get. I've never seen the sequels to them. I don't know if I will, but I can't imagine
So
the great.
fair.
And the sharks probably die a whole lot more in those ones. I have a
Hmm.
feeling. So again, Duncan kind of did all this work. He was the main writer, but then we get brought in. We have a husband and wife duo. We have Donna and
Oh,
Wayne Powers, incredible names,
what names? That's
who
amazing.
who had met all the way back in at USC in film school. So they've been working together. They were both majoring in screenwriting. I just think it's really cute. And they've worked together on so many projects.
Oh, what a meet cute.
So
I love
I
that.
know. I'm like just since little babies and they're still working
Oh.
together. So how did we get the script to Warner Brothers from this
Mhm.
seed of an idea? So he had, in very true Hollywood fashion, previously worked as a designer on the movies just after USC Film School, so he also went there. He was designing things like the brain chip and the Cyberdyne lab in Terminator 2.
Oh,
So
that's
he was
sick.
already in kind of that world. And so
Gotcha.
he had one job where he met director Stephen Hopkins, who later became the co-creator of the show 24,
Oh, okay.
and his producer, who helped get the script to a talent agency, which then passed this over to Warner Brothers. And so it sold to Warner Brothers over other bidders about 2 months later in late 1994.
Wow.
And then the development of the project didn't start until 2 years after that. So that's why it kind of gets
Interesting.
pushed
Okay.
back. During that process, it was about 8 months for the script to become finalized, and every step Duncan did have his little hands in there, helping very heavily with.
Cute.
There's like so many screenwriters that are attributed to
Oh my
this.
God, I'm sure.
Same with editors. I'm not going to read through all of
Interesting.
them. Some of
Huh.
them each just kind of do like one or two things.
Gotcha.
And I couldn't find all of those sources. So he was heavily involved. He would write like 4 to 5 pages of detailed notes on every single draft.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
which
this
is
is really
crazy.
his baby. Yeah.
This is his baby, yeah. And I appreciate that they let him stay so involved
That's special.
on it as well. And so he talks about this saying, even after I was no longer the current writer, I remained tangentially involved creatively throughout development because I was sent most new drafts by producers Alan Ritchie and Tony Ludwig. They were classic Hollywood producers, savvy and dodged, funny and sage, people everyone knew and liked. I couldn't have imagined being treated better by the producers on a big studio movie. It was one of these
Aw.
sets. Yeah, it was one of these sets of notes that director Rennie Harlan had read before he called the first time to say he agreed to do it. Maybe surprisingly, I felt like my input was really valued from the start to finish,
Aw.
and I'd periodically see ideas I suggested pop up in different drafts. So,
That's
like we
really
said,
cool.
and so that's how Rennie gets kind of attached. He read this. He specifically read Duncan's notes on the scripts that
I
Warner
love
Brothers were working
that.
on and was like, I like these ideas. I want to move
Super
ahead with
cool.
this project. Yeah. So Rennie like calls him one day, said he was super excited to work on the project with him. And then again, they kind of worked together. So it was like Rennie, Donna, Wayne, and Duncan worked together on these finalizing of the script, and they presented it to WB in a much more like it was very much like a different draft when they had first kind of
Gotcha.
given it to Warner Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was more of a military espionage. It was like
Oh,
high-tech
interesting.
action
Okay.
movie, which
Uh-huh.
Rennie Harlan was known for being like big budget action movie director
Gotcha.
at the time, so it makes sense. He said there's like grenade launchers, yeah, definitely more like blue collar
Very
types,
different
not
vibe.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, very very like it sounds like Tremors almost to a point, just in water,
Mm-hmm.
and then military. And so that was kind of like where things started. It's gone through lots of drafts. I wish I could read all of them. I don't know where they exist, but it went
That's gotta
through
be
it.
fascinating. Yeah.
And then, fun fact, just like a cute little note before production started, as kind of like a good luck joke, Duncan
Mm-hmm.
gave director Rennie Harlan a first day of filming gift, which was a vintage Jaws shirt. You can see it online. It's
Aw,
just like
that's
very
so
simple. Yeah.
cute.
And it was kind of like an inside joke for them because Warner Brothers, of course, kept telling everyone not to mention Jaws when talking about Deep Blue Sea. Although a lot of people end up describing this film as Jaws on steroids, so
I
they
mean,
can't
yeah,
beat.
you're making a shark movie. You're not going to avoid the topic of Jaws, no matter how
Yeah,
hard you try.
no, and we're gonna talk about it in like 2 seconds as how
Great.
it was inspiration.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
but before that, there is like a really funny connection to Jaws specifically. So again,
Ooh.
USC film school buddies,
Mm-hmm.
like him and I believe Duncan. I don't know if it was Duncan or Rennie, but they went to a screening at a movie theater of like an old USC Friends film school. And so they were sitting in the theater, and they realized director Steven Spielberg and then Kate Capshaw were sitting in front of them.
Whoa.
And one of their friends decided to go talk to Steven Spielberg, bold move, and said,
Oh my God.
oh yeah, it was Duncan. He was like, Duncan here just sold a script about a shark movie that's going to be up there with Jaws. And so, which I can't imagine looking this man dead in the face and saying
Oh
something like that. Like,
my
my
God.
friend's
The
doing something like you did.
audacity. That's wild. I mean, like,
And
what a great friend, but also that is
right?
insane person
Like, what do
behavior.
you
That's
expect him to do? Be like, cool, cool,
truly.
cool. So you want to know what Steven Spielberg said back, which I think is so
Please tell
perfect.
me.
And
Ugh.
so he just goes, good luck with that. Like, what do you want me to say? Good luck. That's
Well, and
not gonna
like,
happen, but good luck.
yeah, and we all know how his
Maybe.
luck worked out. Like,
Yeah. Wild. So,
incredible.
bold move on them. So that's like a funny little connection we
Wow.
have there. And again, despite most people kind of linking it to Jaws and even Jurassic Park, which I'm not sure if you kind of
Mm.
like picked
I
up on anything.
my I will say my letterboxd review for it was Jurassic Shark.
That's perfect. That's exactly what it is.
It
Yeah, it
definitely
is.
feels very related. Yeah.
Yeah, we get to see these big monsters on the big screen. There's
Mhm.
also, I noticed in this watching too, and maybe it's just because it's been a few years since I watched it, but when LL Cool J is like hiding, he like goes into the oven, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's exactly the
It's
raptor
yeah.
scene with the
Oh,
kids.
100%. But on
So they,
steroids, yeah.
but on steroids. And then also the three sharks. Um, oh, I think in different movies. Never mind. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that.
Okay.
So yeah, there's lots of references, you can pick it up. And other than Jaws and Jurassic Park, there was also a third horror movie influence,
Mm.
which again, I'm not sure if you felt. I'm gonna say I didn't feel it. Reading about it, it does make sense, but it's not anything I
Interesting.
would have pinpointed at the beginning. But we
Um,
have
was it maybe The Shining based on all the hallway shots?
mm-mm.
No? Okay. Tell
No,
me.
but that's a really good guess. That's more on the nose than what I'm about to say.
Great.
It was the Alien franchise,
Oh, okay. That I
which
could see Aliens in particular, like the
mhm,
second
mhm.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
absolutely. So, this was mainly obviously Duncan, our creator of this world.
Mhm.
He talks about this comparison, kind of saying that the final script that we ended up getting is obviously isolated resident crew trapped in
Mhm.
these dark corridors. It's very like if you
Mhm.
lay over a very basic skeleton of kind
Yeah.
of what Alien and Aliens is.
Pretty one to one. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty one to one. And in both versions, so he had kind of like different scripts, but in both versions of the script that he wrote, obviously meant to be cautionary tales of things being taken too far, science being
Mhm.
taken too far,
Mhm.
and kind of betraying them, being betrayed by nature. I say in air quotes. And Duncan says, quote, I had intentionally avoided going to Alien due to the many isolated crew hunted in dark corridors movies
Mm,
in the
mhm.
decade plus after Aliens.
Fair.
Yet, the first notes from Warner Brothers included the need to shift more action that had been
Mm.
on in ocean water uh, into dark corridors and make the facility's interiors much more the sole central focus.
Mhm.
The facility itself grew into a sort of mega ocean space station, way larger, way more sci
Hmm.
fi, and a much deeper, darker ocean, which
Interesting.
I'm so happy that they went that way. We'll talk about
Yeah.
sets and things in a minute. And then, in an,
Oh, sorry. You know, the other thing it reminds me of actually, this is like such a goofy reference point, but I watched it all the
listen.
time as a little kid. Did you ever watch Dinotopia?
Oh my, wait. Dinotopia. Oh,
Is
when
that
they
ringing a
go
bell?
into the world where the dinosaurs talk, right?
Yes, yeah. You know
Yes,
the
I
and
love that
yeah,
movie.
and remember I think it's fucking David Thewlis in there who's like the big bad and
Yeah, yeah,
like there's
yeah.
like a whole underwater fight
Yes.
sequence and stuff. It felt a lot like
Oh
some
my
of
god, nobody
the
talks
underwater
about
stuff in
that.
Dinotopia.
You
Yeah.
just made my action. No one ever references that movie, and I think it's so brilliant and it's
It
so lost.
well, and like it was one of like all of maybe 20 VHSs in the
Sure.
video rental store closest to my house growing up in the
Sure.
kids section, and so I rented it like
Ugh.
probably 15 times.
Ugh.
And it's ingrained in my
I need
consciousness
to
now.
rewatch that one because all the puppets and the
Oh my
outfits
god.
are so incredible in
I'm
it.
so scared it's gonna like it's not gonna live up to my memory of it. But god,
I
I have
think it will
such good
because
memories.
I think the last time I watched it, I was out of college for sure. So, I
Oh,
mean, not that that
okay.
was
Love to
anytime
hear
recent.
that.
I don't know why I said that like that, but it wasn't, it does hold up, I feel like, for
Watching it
nostalgia
out of college
factors,
is very
probably.
different than watching it as like a 5-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I would like to say it still does.
Love.
But
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. They're like, also, Alien inspired us.
There
Uh,
you go.
I believe it. Um, in again, a weird little verse thing just before we leave
Mhm.
Alien, Rennie Harlan was actually offered the director to direct Alien 3 before stepping away from the project himself.
Oh,
Apparently, he had such a
interesting.
big idea that studios were like, we can't make this happen. You can't do it. And I'm like, of course. This man just wants
Wow.
to spend everybody's money,
Yeah.
is what I'm convinced,
Yeah.
and like not really have a plan. That's
He's
good.
he gives big spender as a filmmaker. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "What are you talking about? I can have $200 million and make this. It would definitely make sense." So, he was supposed to direct it. We did not get it. His view on that was just too large for the studio, which is insane to think. So we're getting into starring. Of course, the film also had Alien as part of its influences for the casting process as well.
Makes
It just
sense,
couldn't
yep.
let this go. So director Rennie said that he wanted a great ensemble cast, like we do in Alien, and then he wanted to do it a little bit different than Warner Brothers had before, which obviously would be more star driven. They want to make money. They want to have butts and seats, but much like Alien, kind of having a little bit smaller, a little less known cast, they kind of wanted to lean that way.
Gotcha.
And so and they also kind of wanted to set up everything where you had no idea who was going to die and who was going to survive. And so he wanted to keep the audience off balance in that way, and so he combined some unknowns with the character actors. And then obviously we have stars like Sam Jackson, who we will talk about, who kind of like anchor the whole piece. So that was kind of the formula that they used for casting, which I think is really an interesting approach to take. Very specific.
We don't see those kinds of mixes as often these days. Of like
not at
levels
all
of fame.
Yeah, and the way they do it, I think, is smart, as we'll talk about. One of the more unknowns we have is our lead. So again, kind of surprising for them to spend as much as they did on somebody that was not known. So Thomas Jane, which now we kind of all know.
I only know him from Arrested Development, I've got to be honest, but he plays himself on Arrested Development. So
does he really? I only know him from this.
Oh my god, that's so
like,
funny.
Truly. So
there's like a subplot in Arrested Development where Lindsay thinks that she's dating an unhoused person, and it's actor Tom Jane pretending to study for a role. Yeah, him.
He kind of gives him. He looks very much like a few white actors. For me,
which is why it was such perfect casting for that bit.
Perfect.
Trav says he just wants his kids back.
I totally forgot that was him, and that I didn't even cite that. So,
oh my god, that's the only thing I know of his existence.
Great. Yeah. I feel like all of us have one thing from him. He's great.
He's in Boogie Nights.
Yep. So he's steal my notes, Trav. So he's he's in Boogie Nights, 2007's The Mist. He's in Thick Red Line, Face Off, and The Crow, City of Angels, which I don't think many of us have
watched or have plans to.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like everyone knows him from one thing and maybe one thing only. Yeah. Maybe Arrested Development also, because also now I can say that. And this was his kind of like breakthrough role, which I think is really
interesting.
Cute.
Oh my god.
I mean, it would make sense. It was a lot of eyeballs. And just a little fun fact about him: he is terrified of sharks. And said he always had been since seeing what movie? Jaws.
Of course.
In his childhood. So, real fun time, as we'll talk about sharks later, and that's what he had to do. God. We have Saffron Burrows as Dr. Susan, that bitch. She's in 2004 as Troy, Gracie and Frida, 36 episodes of Mozart in the Jungle, and she is Dottie in the Netflix series You as well.
Oh, I have not seen any of those, so this is my first time with her.
Yeah, she was great at being horrible. In this.
She's very hateable.
She's super hateable. Yeah. Put a pin in that as we talk about the ending with her. But before there, we have LL Cool J, aka Ladies Love Cool James, which I just think is so funny.
Oh my
god!
God.
I'm constantly reminded that is his name that he chose for himself.
Incredible.
So he's preacher. He is he's not the bad guy in any way, shape, or form. He's kind of just doing his thing with his bird hanging out.
That bird, man, I was so fucking emotionally attached to that bird.
I forget. I think I have PTSD because I always think the bird survives.
Literally, as soon as that bird got chomped, Dana turns to me and goes, "This movie's lost me. I can't do it anymore."
Yeah. No, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Pause it just before that happens.
Yeah,
great
literally.
Movie.
Yeah, and then fast forward past it and just tell yourself that the bird flies out.
Yep, absolutely.
Flies and then swims out.
I always wait for the bird to like land on them at the end for some reason.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Yeah. So I was reminded very quickly that does not happen. But
so
sad. We get LL Cool J in this movie, which
Incredible.
is like such a 1990s, 1999 thing to do. So if you don't know who he is, which I don't know how like young our audience is, I feel like most of us are all the same. I feel like you guys are like our age roughly. So
I
he's a hip hop
definitely
artist.
yeah, from what I've seen of our demographic, it's definitely like mostly
We're
25
all
to
like here.
45. Like,
We
yeah.
kind of know who he is. You've at least,
Yes.
I hope, heard of him.
I think most of us are of the extended Cool J generation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He also was in like, I guess we're all horror lovers. He was in a bunch of horror movies as well.
Mm.
He was in Mindhunters with Rennie Harlan again. He was in 1992's Toys with Robin Williams. He's in Halloween
Oh.
H2O. He is in Last Holiday, Edison, Any Given Sunday, In Too Deep.
Oh.
So he's in a
A
bunch of things. I
lot.
always kind of
Yeah.
forget how many
Yeah, that
movies.
was not on my bingo card for him.
Right. So when it came to casting the role of Preacher, director Rennie said that he wanted to have one character who brings a lot of warmth and humor to the film without being too one dimensional and have too many one liners,
Okay.
which I do think he was perfect at.
Yeah.
He had previously seen LL in a few other films and felt that he had great charisma, as he does. And he met him and said that he was, quote, really very impressive and forced the
Mm.
studio into hiring him. And he turned out to be a huge asset to the film, as
Oh
we
yeah.
will get to. He obviously, like, the end of the film ends with a song by him. And if you haven't watched the
Mhm.
music video to it, I watched
Oh
it right
my
before this.
god. I
It is
need
horrible and
to.
amazing at the same time. Please watch it after this.
Yeah, that
So,
credits track was like some Pet Cemetery level
oh my God,
hilarity.
we need to have more whimsy in our movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also
Oh my God,
directed
it
by
was
Rennie
also
Harlan?
directed by Rennie Harlan.
Oh
That
my
makes sense.
god.
They do use the set, and there are dancers that are
Wild.
dancing on the set, and the long like strip that we get in the middle of the water. LL Cool J is wearing black contacts. Yeah, we used to be a country. We really
You're so
did. We
right,
really were
Travis.
having fun at one point in our lives, and then we stopped for some reason. Um,
God.
so Harlan
We need
was
more LL Cool J in our lives. We need that
listen.
comic relief.
Rennie loved this man so much that, and he was so impressed and surprised, he says, by LL Cool J in the role that he
Whoa.
actually changed the character's fate for him. So Preacher was
Aw.
originally going to be killed off by the
It
shark really
definitely
early on.
it feels like it is building to that for sure.
Yeah. And the fact that he also has that little like one liner of like, brothers like us never make
Yeah.
it in movies like this. And
That
he
felt
makes
like an
it to the end.
improv. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was their little like Rennie's like, I think we should say this. And I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, we should. This is great. And so he makes it all the way to the end. He is one of our final girls,
It
which
reminds me of
is
the character in Nope who the same thing happened with.
mhm,
That life got extended based on being so charming as a person.
yeah. Listen, that's all it takes. Just kind of
Love.
woo your director.
Mhm.
We of course have his scenes partner, which is Bird in it. So I find this very funny of the reason. So they could not, I say in air quotes, afford to have a fully trained parrot for Preacher's pet in the film. So they ended up using two parrots, one that was good at flying and another that could sit on his shoulder. And
Oh
I
my
find that
god.
wild when we
That's
get to the budget.
so funny.
I'm like, you just didn't want to spend the money, but I bet you anything it would have been a drop in the bucket to get
Yeah.
yourself
That's
a bird.
and like that's one of your main characters at this point. Like that's a very
Listen,
important bird.
their words, not mine.
That's
Um, the bird was voiced by legendary voice actor Frank Welker, who provided the voice of the
oh.
parrot. So his IMDb list was like so long, I had a really hard time kind of like
Ugh,
pulling out.
amazing.
But the gist of him, he voiced many characters, including Megatron for the Transformer films
Okay.
franchise, but also the animated. He also has done George and Curious George again throughout
Oh.
decades. He's done
Wow.
Garfield throughout decades. He's been Fred in Scooby Doo since the
Whoa.
70s
Oh
in various
my
projects.
god.
Yeah, so I mean, huge list. He's been in kind of like all of the hits, I feel like.
Wow.
But those seem to be the reoccurring voices that he has been doing forever. And
That's a
I
wild career.
love me some voice actors. So I wanted to shout
Yes,
him out.
absolutely.
We have Stellan Skarsgård as Dr. Jim Whitlock. This man, the Skarsgårds, man. I always
Oh, the
forget which one's what.
Skarsgårds.
He is the one that started it all. He is the
Yes.
father of Bill Skarsgård, who we just talked about in our last episode. He is also in Sentimental Value, Dune Part 1, Mamma Mia. He is in the Marvelverse. He is Bootstrap Bill in Pirates of the Caribbean. He's in Good Will Hunting, Nymphomaniac Volume 1 and 2, which I know Sienna loves. And
sure
he
do.
is in one of my comfort thriller movies, Glass House, as well.
Oh.
He is so wildly a chameleon for me. All the Skarsgårds are except for Bill. I can never tell them apart in movies.
Yeah.
But he's great in this. I love his little arm.
I love him so much in everything he does. He's so good.
He's so good. He might be my favorite Skarsgård because he's in so many things.
I would
Bill's
probably
right
agree
there.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's the one I recognize the most.
The one who started it all.
Truly. Of course, we get Samuel L. Jackson as Russell Franklin in this. We talked about him on our 1408 John Cusack episode. He, of course, is most notably in Pulp Fiction, Snakes on a Plane, and some other horror films if you want to watch him in. He's in Cell, Glass, and then Lakeview Terrace as well. And he obviously was the one that we talked about that has the most star power in this film. And yet he kind of is one of, I think he gets killed off first, even though there's a lot of like things that lead up. He's
one of the earlier deaths for sure. Yeah. I think there's like, we get Skarsgård's the first to die, I think, because he gets his arm.
He gets his arm bitten. He doesn't die yet.
That's right.
He gets dropped in the ocean. When being rescued, possibly, and then held alive.
Yes, by the shark,
Truly
like a little
one of the
shark chew toy.
So bad. They're like, see this plaything? I want it dead. Get us out of here, and you can get your man back.
God,
like, oh, he really goes. He really
has
just
the worst death for sure.
Worst death. But yeah, I think Samuel L. Jackson definitely goes first though, which is kind of wild because he makes it up until a point, and so he said they were all really glad that he got killed off, and we'll talk about that in a second. And he said basically he is like Janet Leigh in Psycho or Drew Barrymore in Scream, that he was this big star power to then not make it through all the way. So I kind of love his character living in the same vein as those two iconic performances in those films. And so director Rennie pitched this film to him saying, it's going to be the most incredible death for you. It's going to shock everyone. And so he was like, okay, Rennie, I'm down for that. He said he died in a lot of movies in his career, but had never been killed by anything before. So he was really excited to be killed by a shark.
That's cool.
Which we will talk about that scene, so put a pin in that.
Love.
He also admitted that the idea of abruptly killing Samuel L. Jackson's character 2/3 of the way, like through the movie, was borrowed once again by the fate of actor Tom Skerritt in Alien. So that's kind of where that idea comes back again.
That makes sense. Yep.
And I didn't know this. This was the first horror film that Samuel L. Jackson was ever really in.
Wow.
But he'd been a fan of horror since a really young age, which I didn't know.
I love that. That's so
cute. Says, I know. He says he remembers watching a lot of monster movies growing up, and then he would go home with his like friends and family, and they would pretend to be like Dracula or Frankenstein, and then they would chase each other around. And he said, quote, someone would be Godzilla and jump out of the tree and scare your friends. This was an opportunity to finally be in a movie like that and run away from something that's bigger and stronger with sharp teeth and claws. I got to say stuff like, look out, go this way. Even though I didn't get to be that panicky.
That's so cute.
So cute.
Oh my God, I love that.
I know. I'm like, the more I learn about this man, he also wanted to be a marine biologist, I think, too, at some point. So like, this really just
all
fulfilled a lot of
combined.
things for him.
Love that.
However, originally Samuel L. Jackson was initially offered the role of preacher, but his management turned it down because they didn't like him playing a cook. For whatever reasons, his managers were like, we're not doing that. So director Rennie actually created the character of Russell Franklin just for him, so he'd be in this film, and then he took it from there.
That's super cool.
Which you can watch this, and like if you take him out, you don't need his character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
I love that. And I love the
yeah.
interaction that he and LL Cool J have too,
Hmm.
where he's like trying to win LL Cool J over and Cool
Yeah.
J's having none of it.
He was
That's,
like, no.
yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite
Yeah.
parts of the movie.
It's a cute little, watching it back, it's definitely like
Hmm.
that moment now. I didn't even think about that, is probably a cute little nod of like, we were both offered this. I took it, and then
Yeah.
you got created this part for
Hmm.
you. So it's very cute to watch back knowing that, because again, his character's not necessarily needed. It is a nice view into the world, but like it makes
Yeah.
sense if you think about it. Also, originally his character was given an even longer speech before he died, which is
Oh my
crazy because the
God.
speech is
It's
already
already
so
so
long.
long.
It was 7 pages, Sienna, of
Oh
dialogue.
my God.
7 pages.
Oh, I hope they cut that before they got to shooting it.
Oh, they did not.
No. Oh, Samuel L.
Yeah.
Jackson must have been furious. That's so much to make an actor memorize.
He was not. He did it. He was there. They shot it. He did think though the dialogue was terrible, and so did the FX team, which I think is
Oh
really funny.
my
And
God.
so in post, they actually asked director Rennie to. He was like, you know what? Instead of having me do the dialogue, why don't you just kill me? Just take me out in the middle of the speech. And so that's what we get. Um, it was not easy for Rennie to kind of, he like pushed back on that idea. He was like, no, we wrote these, it's gonna be great, it's this whole
That's
thing, it's Samuel L. Jackson, it's like a moment in the thing.
mm-hmm.
But he finally gave it to a new editor, which is where I think we get our list of editors, and
Makes sense.
so they ended up cutting it mid-scene.
Whoa.
And so
This
that's where we
is
get that moment.
so funny, particularly because, like, I swear 3 seconds before he gets chomped, Dana was like, he's about to get attacked by the shark, isn't
Hmm.
he?
It's
Like,
perfect.
it's so perfect.
It's
Yeah.
meant to be that way, and imagine if we like that
Absolutely.
instinct, I think that she had is like the
That's the natural
perfect.
thing.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
what we want, is like horror fans or people that
Yeah.
know anything about how movies
That
kind of
long
play
speech has
out.
to be building to something horrible happening and
Yeah,
cutting it off. You can't
yeah,
actually let the long speech
I love
play
that.
out.
No, well, they wanted to, and I'm really
God.
happy that they said something.
Thank
Um,
goodness.
and
Because that's
then
the
yeah,
only way it could go. Yeah.
yeah, Samuel L. Jackson loved it too. He calls it like the best death ever. He was super pleased that they
Oh.
listened, and we get that great moment because of it. We're kind of rounding the corner with our cast. We have Jacqueline McKenzie as Janice, Jan, as they
Hmm.
call her in the film. She's an angel baby, Malignant. She's also the narrator, Diana, on the TV series The 4400. And then she goes on to star in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Stellan Skarsgård 2 years
Oh.
later. So they work together
Okay.
again.
Cool.
There's a lot of crossover with this cast, I found.
Hmm.
We have Michael Rappaport as Tom Skoggs.
Amazing.
He is a comedian and actor. He is like, I feel like more known as comedian, but he's been in a
Hmm.
shit ton of things as a character actor. He was in True Romance, Doug in the TV series Atypical. He's a detective on Only Murders in the Building. He's also been a
That's
guest star on,
right.
yeah, Fallout, The Simpsons, Chuck, My Name is Earl, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Um, I love him in this role, and I always forget that it's him because
Hmm.
I'm so used to like older looking Rappaport that I like
Yeah.
forgot this
I
is
definitely
baby
I
him.
could tell that I was recognizing him from a sitcom, but I couldn't tell what it was until
Yeah.
eventually My Name is Earl popped into my head. But yeah.
Yeah, he is. I mean, the list is heavy
He's
as a
done
comedian in
everything. Yeah.
Hollywood. Yeah, truly. He's so good in this. And then we have Ada Turturro as Brenda. She is Janice in The Sopranos. She's the girl in our little watchtower,
Oh
or
yeah. I
what do you
think
call it?
she's the first to
My
die.
house.
I
Does she go?
think.
Does she go in the storm?
Yeah, she goes in the storm. Although I
Oh.
guess we technically don't know that she's dead until later in the movie.
Yeah, they
So
whisk her away.
yeah,
It's not
that's
on
fine.
screen. She could, she could
Retract.
have floated down. Oh, the
Oh,
helicopter blows her up. How did we both forget that? We're like, no, she gets blown away. No, the helicopter blows her up. Oh, baby. Our
okay, so at
baby.
least the violence starts with a bang, right?
Oh my
Like,
god. No, but that's after.
oh my God.
Is it? Yeah, that's after. That is after because nothing's exploding yet, which hell of a explosion. My god.
Yeah,
was that a
no,
lot of
it's
fire.
huge. Yes.
Yeah, that's right before what
Face full of
Stellan
helicopter.
Skarsgård gets dropped by the rescuers. So right after. Oh God.
That's
It
so
really just goes to
brutal.
shit so
Yeah,
fast. Who's to even say, you know,
I
the timeline.
know. Yeah.
But yeah, she a couple years after she goes on to be Janice in The Sopranos. She's Hetty in The Blacklist, Angie in Jersey Girl. She also
Oh.
has made so many guest appearances on TV shows like Law and Order, ER, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She's so
Oh.
great in this, even though she's barely on screen. I
Yeah.
want to know more. And we get a director cameo, which I completely missed. So I'm going to
Oh.
rewind it back and watch it. At around 11 minutes,
Mhm.
we see him as one of the workers on the Aquatica who are heading home for the
Oh,
weekend
that's
on the
fun.
supply boat, which
That's a
is
cute little director
great.
cameo. Yeah.
And then we also get kind of Rennie's director trademark, which I think is fun. He's a Finnish director, so he kind of always gives a little nod to his homeland in all of his
Aw.
films. We have a Finnish flag in one of the characters' rooms. In the kitchen, there's like a dry erase board, and there's a shopping list, and one of the first items on it are Finnish pancakes. There's also the city of Helsinki, which is the capital city of Finland, is mentioned. And then there's some vodka that also comes from
Oh,
Finland
cool.
that they're drinking in some scenes. So it's very cute.
Mhm.
And we have some fun credits too, if you've noticed.
Ooh.
We have members of the visual effects team. Ironically enough, it's Hammerhead Productions, who have
Amazing.
shark related nicknames if you pay attention. For example, we have Jamie Great White Dixon and
Oh my
Rebecca Mako Marie, which
That's
is very cute.
cute. That's really
So
cute.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
love.
fun. Fun little nod. All right, budget, as we talked about.
Oh
They
boy.
didn't have a budget for one parrot,
Oh my
but they
god.
did have a budget for everything else. So, do you want to guess, or shall I rip the band-aid off?
I feel like it's gotta be
It might
over
not be as
50.
big as you. Oh yeah,
It's gotta be over
50.
50 mil.
It is quite over 50 mil. Not quite, but quite. There's a range. There's a range that I can't get. Why there's such a big.
66.6666
That's
mil.
actually that might be almost right in the middle. So the range is 60 million up to 82 million, which I'm like,
Oh
how is it
my,
a
that's
20
such a
million?
big range. That's,
I
oh
am
my god.
no,
You
I'm
could make another
assuming
20 movies for that.
reshoots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I'm
Yeah.
assuming some like scenes. I don't know. 1999, couldn't find the information.
Uh,
Hollywood doesn't want us to know. They're covering up
I mean, I guess
something.
also if you've got like Samuel L. Jackson and LL Cool J, I feel like they both were probably
I'm like the
getting
music
well
video.
paid. Yeah.
The music video.
A custom LL Cool J song,
Yeah,
like,
marketing.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's where a lot of it went. So I feel like Rennie's kind of like again known, like he always wanted to make a big scale, big budget movie
Mhm.
with this. That was kind of always his goal. He said, quote, I felt that in recent years, again, I'm not saying I agree, these are just his
Mhm.
words. He said, I felt that in recent years, horror films have become a sort of bastard child in Hollywood. True, as they're usually low budget and done
Mhm.
tongue in cheek. I wanted
Mhm.
to take the genre back into a big scale movie making level of films like The Exorcist, The Shining, Jaws, for which you have great actors, great production values, and you do it seriously. You're not winking at the audience, you're trying to scare them to death. So
That's so
I don't know if he
interesting.
achieves at all of
Yeah,
those
because I'm like,
things.
I agree with him on all of this, but then where do like the jokes about like brothers never make it fit into this?
Yeah.
Like, because that is directly doing a scream. Like,
I mean, having like someone like LL Cool J who is such a force and like icon on their own in this feels like a
yeah,
wink wink. This is
absolutely.
also referred to as a big budget B horror movie. That's like
That makes
how people refer to
so
it.
much
So
sense.
everything you're feeling, as we will
Okay,
talk
great.
about your
Love.
feelings at the end, I promise, is correct. Like as much as he wanted to do that, I don't know what to think about this man. And so I think his thoughts are good. I don't
Mhm.
know if his
Did he
execution always
achieve
gets there.
them?
Why
Yeah.
do people keep
Question
giving him
mark.
so much money? I actually don't fucking know.
That's kind of wild.
He
Yeah.
has huge budgets and I just don't
Wow.
get it.
Ugh.
But
Ugh.
I
To
do
get
see
this after that pirate movie that I keep forgetting the name of, the
Cutthroat Island.
Cutthroat Island. To get this after Cutthroat Island, that's crazy.
It's wild.
Ugh.
Listen, the 90s were a wild time.
Truly.
However, I do get where all of this money went. I do think he spent
It's
it.
an
It,
expensive
it
movie.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So filming began on August 3rd, 1998 for roughly 80 days, which I still think is
That's pretty
like a great amount
fast.
of time. Yeah. I
Yeah.
do not know. I mean, that's how much they shot for. There's been so much work that went
Yeah,
ahead of this.
I'm
However, I
sure.
think 80 days totally makes sense for this. Most of the film was shot at Fox Baja Studios, which is a Mexican film studio near a
Oh,
resort community.
cool.
And they are the world's largest stages and water tanks designed for filming. So huge
Wow.
studio. I want to say we've talked about it before. I mean, Titanic filmed
Oh,
here.
okay,
I
cool.
don't know if I Oh my god, did I not list any of them out? I mean, it's huge. They've done fucking anything big with water. That is your
Interesting.
studio.
Wow, awesome.
It's amazing to look up. So they obviously were there. They also had built some sets on different sound stages so the production designers could put fish tanks full of water outside the portholes, light them to
Whoa,
make sure the
cool.
facilities like looked like they were underwater.
Oh, I love
And
that.
there's so much behind the scenes video that I could find even on YouTube, even though I couldn't watch my 4K video.
No.
They are on you. There's some things on YouTube. I don't know how much in comparison, but you can kind of see them and you can see the scale of these sets. And like there's no amount of like explaining how big these were. And from the looks of it, it looks like 90 to 95% are practically built. And then they just have
Wow.
some like blue screen where I'm assuming honestly it's just where the water tank's supposed to go behind them.
Interesting.
Like these
Okay, yeah.
are practically done sets. They look
Wow.
exactly like they do when you're watching the movie. So I'm like, props to them for
That's really cool.
building as much as they did.
Yeah, we love a
Um,
practical set.
I mean, yeah, it's really beautiful to look at. Even like the shaft that they're crawling up at the end when like
Mhm.
little Blondie falls on the ladder.
Right, right.
That's supposed to be 150 feet high in the movie, but they
Mhm.
still built a 40-foot high
That's
shaft.
pretty fucking high.
And it's
Yeah.
like fully
Wow.
like real. It looks
That's a
real.
lot. That's a
Yeah,
yeah, they
it's
committed. They
crazy.
committed to the bit.
They did. After the shoot at Fox Baja Studios, director Rennie kind of wrapped that, but insisted the team go to the Bahamas to shoot with real sharks, which we'll put a pin in it because we will talk about it in a little bit. Oh, you know what? I want to hold that. I want to hold it. I'm going to hold that for later. Let me move it.
All right.
But we
Putting a
do
pin in the
have,
sharks.
yeah, put a pin in the sharks as I move my notes in real time. Um, we do, of course, like filming they were filming these sets with a bunch of water. Again, they're at this like biggest water studio you can film at in the world. And with all those water scenes, something was obviously bound to go wrong. In fact,
Oh
it was
dear.
a scene where that we keep joking about where Stellan Skarsgård's character is hooked up to the helicopter.
Oh
uh
no.
Funny enough, nothing happened to him in that
Okay,
because
good.
he's hooked
Thank
up to the
God.
helicopter or he's not even there. But you know how the water rushes all around the
Mhm.
actors?
Mhm.
So Samuel L. Jackson recalls this day as saying that the scene where the waves are supposed to rush in all around them, come in the front, the back, and they kind of stop, ended up having 3 tons of water that got thrown on them
Oh my God.
by accident. He said they got swept towards like while this was listen, I don't know what
Uh,
happened, a
uh,
faulty valve, someone opened something up. They got swept around towards the cargo bays. They said they were getting pummeled all
oh
around,
my
dragged across
God.
like all that metal grating that we see on the floor, which was real,
Ah.
obviously. But they
Yeah.
managed to all scramble up during that and keep acting. On top of that,
Whoa.
they had no safety harnesses on. So they were really just getting like whipped around.
That's so frightening.
And
And
that's what
so
we see in the
irresponsible. Oh my
right?
God.
And that's what makes it into the film. So you don't even
Whoa.
need to watch behind the scenes. That
You're
is
seeing
what's
it.
going on
That's
big scale screen.
wild. Oh my God. I'm so glad nobody got hurt. That's
I mean,
incredibly lucky.
yeah, everyone dings and bruises and scrapes, I'm
Yeah.
sure, and trauma
Yeah.
perhaps
Yes.
from the
Emotional
water.
distress.
But Samuel L. Jackson also talks about this afterwards, saying, quote, everyone was kind of upset because they had us hit on full with 3 tons of water that was not supposed to happen. But I thought it
Wow.
was pretty funny when I saw it in the final film. I said, oh, hey, they kept that.
Oh my God.
Which I could just hear him being
Yeah.
like, Okay, that's not
All
great,
right,
but
look
that's
at
fine.
that.
That's good for you. Hopefully they didn't have them do it again, so they had to end up using
God.
that one is what I'm
Oh,
assuming happened.
that would make sense. I hope that's the
Ugh,
case. I
so
hope
much
they didn't have
water.
to redo that.
Luckily, I feel like for my films, that's the worst thing that happened in this. So
Hey, all
I
things
feel like I've had a lot
considered,
of accidents in my films,
yeah. This is
or like
this is like
almost accidents.
not quite a almost killing Donald Sutherland story. Like
Mhm.
we've seen worse
Yeah,
in recent days.
yeah. In 2009, on the film's 10th anniversary, director Rennie explained that Deep Blue Sea was one of the hardest films he had ever
Mm,
made, which I think is funny, because
interesting.
most of the shooting days involved the team standing in water or being underwater for long periods
Yeah.
of time, as one would expect. Like I
Hmm.
said, everything's really practical on this. He recalls this experience saying, quote, just the practicality of putting on a wetsuit on in the morning, being in the water all day. Your script, all your paperwork has to be made of plastic paper. And the
Oh,
things that you wouldn't think of would ever float, they float. So you have to put some water in the set, and then all of a sudden the table's floating away and all
oh
the
my God.
furniture is going somewhere. Or then things you hope would float actually sink and you can't find them anywhere. You're controlling mechanical sharks and you're dealing with digital sharks. I
God.
enjoyed it. I love the challenge of something like that, but it was very hard to pull all together.
Oh, yeah,
Which I can
seriously.
only imagine how silly that must be to get on set, go to put everything there. It's like, well, we need another hour to make
This is
things
supposed to
sink
be
and
above
float.
water. This is supposed to be below water. Neither of
Yeah.
those things are happening right now.
Yeah. Just the logistics of it.
That's wild.
And the kind of idea, as we get into the shark, the idea was they say they wanted to seamlessly kind of mix real footage of sharks with CG sharks and animatronic sharks in that hopes that no one would be able to tell the difference.
Oh my God.
Obviously that did not
You can
happen
tell
for
the
them.
difference.
Yeah. But however, they really wanted to show the sharks at all time. That's how they really
Hmm.
wanted to set it apart from Jaws. So they did their best, and we're gonna get into talking about all the sharks right now, which I'm excited to talk
Well,
about. There's a lot
yeah.
of stuff. So, we talked about Hammerhead Productions. So, if they
Hmm.
sound familiar, they have done visual effects work for As Above, So Below, which we talked about before.
Oh, which I feel like also has a very similar female lead to this film. Like I feel like the two scientists
Oh,
have
yeah, yeah,
similar
yeah.
energies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The
Yeah.
scientists are. Someone needs to do women scientists a little bit better. It really
Yeah,
pisses me
we're
off.
really not great at it.
We're not
It's
hitting the
yeah,
mark on.
major weak spot for our culture.
Yeah. Are we surprised? Are we
No,
surprised?
not at all.
Um, so they worked on As Above, So Below, which has great effects in my opinion.
Mhm.
The Conjuring, Titanic, like I
Mm.
mentioned, Eight-Legged Freaks, Cloverfield, Fright Night, The Perfect Storm,
Wow.
Castaway, to name a few. So I listed mostly horror so that you could
Mhm.
watch those and think of them.
Love.
And specifically leading the shark design, we have special effects supervisor Walt Conti, who was also responsible for Free Willy. So that's where they kind of like
Ah, that makes
brought him
sense.
in.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. They're like, you did a whale, right? Sharks
Sea
are the same.
expert. Yeah.
Yeah. So him and his team spent 8 months on the animatronic sharks and did
Oh,
a lot of research, basically watching sharks swim frame by frame. They just really
wow.
slowed it down. Ultimately, they built 4.5 sharks, which I think is really funny. Three
Wait, what's
15
a
foot.
half shark in this
I
case?
think the much like in Jaws, because Jaws the shark was like in pieces.
That's a good point. Okay. Yep.
I think just like a mouth, which I just think it's so funny. I'm like, just build 5
Right.
or
Just
just
fill
4.
5. Just
What are we
finish one of
doing?
those sharks. Give us
Yeah.
a nice,
Nope.
clean number of sharks.
4.5.
Oh my God.
So we have 3 15-foot Mako sharks, which are the first generation sharks that we see, and then
Hmm.
1.5 mutant sharks, which are includes a 26-foot animatronic shark. And I don't know if I noted this anywhere, but in very like male Hollywood fashion, apparently the Jaws shark animatronic was 25 feet. And so director Rennie was like, I'm gonna make it 26. I'm like, why
Oh
are we
my
doing
God. That's
this?
so stupid.
Isn't it? I was like, Siena's gonna hate this,
It's
but
so
it has to be
fucking
said.
petty.
Oh my
Oh my
god,
God. You're right. I
super petty.
absolutely do hate this.
It's awful. I was like, really? I was like, do I even say this? It's so
Ugh.
annoying of them.
It's so
There they
funny to
go.
bring up, but yeah. Can't.
It's
Yeah.
a shark measuring contest.
Ah.
So so Walt, our effects supervisor kind of
Hmm.
talks about the number one thing for him about creating these sharks for the film was getting their energy right. And so what
Hmm.
he means by that, which I think is like a really cute thing to say, is they're always cruising kind of
Mhm.
slowly and then they snap and just go with this incredible burst of energy.
Mm.
In that way, most of the time, sharks are somewhat lethargic. So probably our biggest challenge, same, was replicating. I also sleep with half my brain
Yum.
going and half of it gone.
Relate.
So he talks about the biggest challenge for them was replicating that speed and the energy
Hmm.
for those
Interesting.
lunges.
That makes sense.
Also, he talks about the shark's jaws actually float in their skull. So that gives them a
Oh,
specific kind of motion. And
makes
he said,
sense.
as far as he knows, we're the first animatronics in the team to totally mimic the multifaceted jaw of a shark, which,
Wow.
as we talk about these animatronic sharks, and I feel like watching them in the film is one thing. Watching some behind the scenes and just seeing these, I mean,
Gotta be incredible.
dare I say, they are the best animatronic sharks we have ever gotten in a movie.
Wow.
They're
Wow.
so, even watching this happen, they're like on set watching the behind the scenes. I'm like, that looks real. That looks like a real shark moving. And I feel like the CG
It doesn't.
doesn't well, no, it's the shittiest CG
Yeah, yeah.
ever. There's no
It's the
justifying it.
90s.
But I feel like like sometimes people think of this movie and sometimes want to think of the bad CG and we like love it because
Mm-hmm.
of that. But I want everyone to go watch some behind the scenes of the
Love that.
sharks. So we're gonna talk about animatronic sharks and what makes them so great. So to create these realistic sharks, they actually used aerospace technology
Oh
to
my God,
make it
that's so
happen,
cool.
which is
Space sharks.
something I get right. That's something I like never would have thought that
Yeah,
would be a
same.
sentence or a thing people would do. But him and his team borrowed equipment and technology that's typically used in Boeing 747s to build the sharks
Wow.
as kind of their own little
Oh
self-contained
my
machines for the
God.
film, which is so
That's
cool.
really cute.
They were remote controlled and had 1,000 horsepower engines, which ultimately these things weighed
Wow.
like 8,000 pounds. They
Oh my
swam on their
God.
own without the use of external wires or any sort of
Wow.
apparatus for under the water. And they could swim up to 30 miles per
Oh,
fucking hour. Isn't that
whoa.
scary?
That's terrifying. Oh my God.
Can you
How much
imagine?
better we got at animatronics since 75 with Jaws is
Yeah.
insane.
And that's what they talk about a lot
Wow.
too, is like how much they were able to do and like how far technology had come
Yeah.
just
Wow.
in that amount of time. So they definitely, obviously Jaws ran, so this movie could swim 30 miles an hour,
Right,
which is
right.
crazy. So these sharks are really swimming on their own in the film,
Ah,
which the crew openly talks about how that the real sharks were easily as dangerous as these animatronic sharks that they had on set because of the power that these things held, being 8,000 pounds. And they said when they
oh,
would go, it could be like a runaway bus.
oh God, that's scary.
Yeah,
Oh.
and like there's scenes, so like the scene I want to talk about specifically. So the
Mm-hmm.
scene where Stellan gets his arm ripped off by the shark.
Yes. Yeah.
There is a behind the scenes making of, which I
Ooh,
hope to play
love.
a clip of for you all.
Fantastic.
That was fully done practically and is
Whoa.
terrifying to watch happen. Which like it kind of
Whoa.
looks like in the film, but seeing it kind of played out, not cut at all. So typically in something like that, they were going to just have his arm like in a like blue or green little
Right.
sleeve,
Makes
and then
sense.
special effects was going to take over, key out the arm, make it look like it got ripped off, use a CG
Mm-hmm.
shark, all that. But instead of using CGI, they were able to program the shark that they built to whip over its head, and it does take off this prosthetic arm that he has on his body. And so this 8,000
Whoa.
pound, what looks like honestly a real
Oh my
fucking shark,
God.
lurches over and does rip off
Ah.
the arm. And it's kind of, I'm like, that's such a risky thing to do. And they said it was really
Truly.
hard to program it to do that because
Oh
it
my
has to turn its
God.
head really fast
The
to
number of
make that
things,
happen.
the number of
That
things
go
that could have
wrong.
gone terribly wrong doing it this way
And keep in mind,
Unbelievable.
the shark is on a water platform that
Oh my
also has
God.
water that goes like 30 feet
Ah,
underneath the set. So it's like
ah.
very real. All of these things
Yeah.
that are happening are very real. A lot of the times like they're talking and the cast talking, crews talking, they're saying the actors really are just reacting to these things that are happening to them because they're actually
Oh
happening to
my
them
God.
on these sets. And I'm like, I can't imagine a 26-foot shark animatronic
I don't know what I'd do.
ripping my fake
Yeah.
arm off.
I
So
would not be chill about it. I can say that
no, not at
much.
all. Not at all. And for people who are afraid of like large animatronics too, like
Mhm.
maybe don't
Oh,
watch the behind the scenes footage.
double trouble.
It's
Yeah.
extra creepy. So not only do I think they look real, but the actors also talked about how real they looked. Even the shark when he's Thomas Jane's like riding the tiger shark, like
Mhm.
that's just this robot, like self-remote
Oh,
tiger shark
wow.
animatronic swimming,
That's
and
so
he's like just
interesting.
on it, and
Whoa.
the movements look so real.
All right.
um and it was so real, in fact, that actor Stellan Skarsgård said the first time he saw one of the animatronic sharks, he thought it was real.
Oh my
Samuel L.
God.
Jackson commented saying how realistic they look, saying, quote, when they first brought the animatronic shark into the lab, we were all in awe of the size of the machine. It was a real monster. I would walk up to it slowly and touch it, and they said it felt like a real shark, which it did. The
Wow.
gills moved and it had a mind of its own sometimes.
Oh, do not like that.
Right? And then even the digital effects supervisor who had come to set one day was really confused because when they all first get there on the boat and the sharks are all
Mhm.
swimming around when you first walk in before you
Right.
walk into the facility,
Right.
the animatronic sharks were just swimming around, and he was like, that's weird. I thought we were going to go shoot with sharks later. I didn't realize you guys were bringing some to set so we could
Oh
shoot them here,
man.
until he saw a little guy with like a remote in the corner
That's
controlling it, and he was like,
so
oh
impressive.
shit.
Wow. Oh my,
Yeah.
that's magical.
Yeah,
That's really
it's
cool.
it's wild to watch. I feel like the movie just doesn't sadly do it as justice as
Yeah.
if they
Is it
could have just
could.
kept it
Yeah.
all real.
Yeah. No, agreed.
They did also shoot with real sharks, like I said we were coming back to, and I shifted my notes
Yes. Get
down,
to pull the pin out.
pulling the pin out. So originally I thought they just filmed the sharks on their own, but they actually had put the actors into the water with them outside of cages to kind of
Wh-
capture some moments as well.
Why would you do that?
They wanted
D-
that realism. They did it right. They did it
Oh my
right.
God.
Of course, they put, like I said, actor Thomas Jane, who is terrified of sharks, in
Right.
with these sharks in the wild that they
Oh,
had to like bait to get there. Right?
ugh.
There's not just 20 sharks chilling on their own.
Right.
Typically,
Right.
they're solo creatures.
We would hope not. Yeah.
Yeah. So they baited him to get there. There's like footage of Thomas Jane like with his little like gun spear in scuba
Oh my
gear,
God.
just like out with all these sharks, and then all the cameramen just like in the cage filming it. But he's out there.
Oh no.
Yeah. But he was not alone. Director Rennie also got in scuba gear. He was also
Okay,
down in the
good.
water with him.
Good. Good.
And yeah, he took one. I would take the chance to do that too. It's
Absolutely.
such a dream
And
of mine to swim with
like
sharks.
you should. If you're making this
Yeah.
movie, you need to be brave
Can
enough
you
to do
imagine?
that. Oh
He's just on
God.
walkie yelling at people. It would seem, from the little I know about him, I could see it, you know?
Yeah, it sounds like it from the little bit you've told me about him.
But no, he went down there, and then they also shot alongside their underwater cinematographer that we get. So we have two
Oh,
cinematographers.
makes
We have
sense.
Pete Romano, who also he's specifically an underwater DP and
Okay,
photographer.
interesting.
And so he's done work on Armageddon, Minority Report, Battleship, Don't
Oh,
Worry, Darling, Inception, 2012, Planet of the Apes, AI Artificial Intelligence, Saving Private Ryan. And he also started off his career, I'm sure if he could have started earlier, but he did Jaws 3D and Jaws Revenge were
oh
the
my
two films
God,
that he
how
started off on.
perfect.
I know, I'm like, if I bet he would have loved to be there for
Absolutely.
Jaws.
Wow.
So they had him go down there. They also worked alongside dive supervisor Stuart
Mm,
Cove. Perfect name for a guy with a job like
so
that.
good. Come
He
on.
did a lot of safety meetings with the cast and crew, was very much, like, telling them to be aware of their surroundings, shark behaviors, and then, like, you even hear him yelling, like, "Make sure to keep your arms tucked when you're down there. Don't
Interesting.
flail out and look have your hand look like a fish," you know?
Yeah.
So, that nothing bad happened, but
Good.
kinda crazy that they went out there.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then some of the digital sharks, so kind of moving to CGI, I'm not going to
Mhm.
touch too much on it. There were 14 different visual effects houses that
Wow.
worked on this film
Wow.
alongside, yeah, alongside the
Oh,
animatronic sharks and the real sharks that we get. One of them was ILM, which has like touched
of
everything we've
course.
ever talked about on this podcast. I said this is where we get scenes like Samuel L. Jackson's character and I said his horrible gummy little like Harry Potter looking ass. He's just so gummy and he looks like Harry Potter in the early films when like they
Oh my
like no bones. They just have no
god.
bones.
Mhm.
Not a bone in sight. And then also like we have the scene where he gets eaten, the shark jumping out. There was just no way for them to get an 8,000-pound animatronic to leap that far
That's fair.
out
That is
for what they
fair. I
wanted.
understand that.
So I get it. And then just before we move on, I kind of wanted to touch about like shooting at the studio too. Oh, we kind of did. Never mind. I'm all over the place.
I'm
I'm
curious if
shifting
it's
things
something
around as
new.
we're talking. No, just talking about like how some of the sets. So again, with just the realism, like
Mm.
I said one of the tanks was 30 feet down that they
Mhm.
were kind of shooting in. They also had a 60-foot deep tank that they also
Ooh.
built a set in as well. So again, just kind
Wow,
of
that
like
would freak
adding
me out
to
so much.
all the water and realism of everything.
Ugh.
And then all of this was captured by our above water cinematographer, Stephen Winden, who we've talked about before. I assume I mentioned him on my episode where I talked about House of Wax on that episode.
Oh, okay, cool.
He did The Gray Man, Star Trek Beyond, Mortal Kombat 2, which just came out, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and all the Fast and Furiouses past Fast 5. So
Wow.
he is our guy for
Okay.
that, and I love his work. Now that I'm a fan of Fast and
Love that.
Furious franchise.
About damn time.
Truly. Music, as we are truly rounding the corner here. So music was composed by Trevor Rabin. He
Mhm.
did scores for Armageddon, National Treasure,
Oh,
Exorcist the Beginning, Bad Boys
interesting.
2, Con Air. So big Hollywood
Mhm.
composer. He kind of talks about, I didn't dive too deep into it. I feel like the score is very reminiscent of like Jaws. You can hear it in there. There's
For
a lot of the
sure.
same instruments. It feels like
Yeah,
a play. There's like 5 notes in that one that I'm totally blanking on, but they have, I think the 2 notes that Jaws uses is what it sounded like
that
to
makes
me.
sense. Yeah, like the same
Um,
interval, basically.
yeah. And just many note that the score for Deep Blue Sea also sounds like John Williams' Jaws and Jurassic Park. So
Interesting.
it's got this very cinematic scale. Of course, like I mentioned, we on the soundtrack have 2 songs by LL Cool J. We get
Incredible.
Deepest Bluest Shark's Fin and Say What, which we're using the end credits. The former was written for the film, and then the later was taken from one of his albums to put in there.
Okay,
Again,
gotcha.
watch the music video. It is using the set. There are clips from the movie in it. It
That's
is
incredible.
horribly 1999, and it's amazing for all those reasons.
So I know what I'm watching
Um,
immediately after the podcast
please do.
recording.
I know I was gonna have you start off with it.
Ah,
I saw it for the first. Well, I probably saw it when it came out, but I saw it for the first time probably since it came out.
mhm.
Oh my god, it is a bop, and it makes no sense.
It's yeah.
I just
It's just there to have a good
it
time, which
is,
I
and
love and I respect. Yeah.
I miss the fun of it all.
Mhm.
But as we kind of end, I want to talk about the film's ending. There
Ooh.
was a change to the ending shortly before its theatrical release.
Sorry, I
Originally, the
just bumped my
character,
mic.
you're so good. Originally the character Susan escaped from the shark and had lived. So we see her die in the version we watched,
Yeah.
but the original ending, she lived and she even helped execute the plan to kill the final shark, which would have basically like redeemed her. Um,
Interesting.
and they were like, yes, everyone will love it. Like she's a hero. But
Mhm.
test audiences were furious at this because everyone agreed that she was responsible for the
Mhm.
situation in the first place
Absolutely she
and
is.
see her
She's
as
a
a villain.
nightmare.
Yeah, everyone's like,
Yeah.
she's a villain along with the sharks. I'm like, the sharks are the villain, but that's
Right.
fine.
Right.
We
She's the
agree.
only villain.
She's
Yeah.
the only
We're all on
villain.
the same
Kill
page
her.
here.
So as a result from these test screenings, they actually did a 1-day reshoot in the Universal Studios tank and did
Oh
some
my
CG
God.
work to change it. So that's why we also get a really bad CG death with her, which is fine.
It's not great, but that's
It's not
fine.
great.
Yeah.
The CG work in this is like, I think the worst we've ever covered. It's
Yeah,
not,
I would strongly agree with that.
it's
Yeah, it's
not,
not
it
great.
might be some of the worst CG work ever.
Period. Yeah. Like,
Question mark. It is horrible, but for all those reasons, we love it, and ignore
yeah,
it.
I wanna during the break. I feel like I need to text Todd, our ILM friend, and ask what he thinks of Deep Blue Sea because I'm sure he's watched it, and I'm sure he's
It's
got some
just
great singers.
it bums me out because all of the practical things that they did, and I feel like this
Yeah.
movie is always, and myself included, is always remembered by the bad CG. And like
Mm,
after doing this research, I'm like so happy I know how real and how great the things
yeah.
were, so that I can watch it and like hopefully like get this bad CG out
Yeah.
of my brain a little bit more.
Appreciate some more of
Yeah.
the stuff that is
hmm
handmade. Yeah.
But really quick to wrap up the ending,
Mhm.
there was a 2019 fan petition calling to Warner Brothers to try and bring out a version of the original ending so people could see it again.
Oh,
So I don't know what
interesting.
happened to that. Again, I don't know what's on my freaking 4K that I can't watch. So I'll let y'all know
No. There's like
when
three
that
alternate
happens.
endings, 1408
Yeah,
style. In one of them, the
Christ.
shark's actually just locked in a hotel room.
Truly. Just living it over and over and over again. Truly.
Samuel L. Jackson is there either way. Like,
That's the crossover that we
there
want.
you
That's what
go.
we're demanding.
Would
So
watch.
absolutely. Anything with sharks, I'm there.
Yeah.
So
Anything with
box
Samuel L.
office.
Jackson, I'm there.
Same. With both? Count me
There you
in.
go.
Twice. Box office, Deep Blue Sea, opened in theaters July 30th, 1999. Oh my God,
Mm,
we're like right
right
at
around the
the
right
release
time.
time. I
Yeah,
just
look at
realized,
that.
weird.
Love.
So it finished third in the box office in its first weekend,
Not
and
bad.
then was fifth place in the box office in its second weekend
Okay.
behind The Sixth Sense, The Blair Witch
Oh
Project,
my God.
Runaway Bride, and a movie I've never heard of called The Thomas Crow Affair.
Okay, yeah. That's
Do you
some
wanna
stiff competition.
take a guess at what it made with those
Okay.
are like some big fucking movies.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I mean, they
Well,
probably went on to make way more eventually, but
and you said that it didn't do badly. Uh,
Crown Affair. Oh, I wrote that
um,
wrong. I don't know what that movie
if
is,
only it was the
Travis.
Thomas Crow affair. Um, I want to say like double its budget, like 140.
I was gonna say I can't do math, so please let me know what that is. You would
Great,
be
thank
correct. Take that and double it. 165 million
you.
worldwide, which I think, and that's
Whoa.
just box
Oh
office.
my
So I
God,
can
that's
only imagine
wild.
how many of us have been snatching up DVDs and what that looks
Yeah.
like to rent. I mean, I
Oh my God.
rented this at Blockbuster
It feels like a very
at the time.
blockbustery movie. Yeah.
I remember sitting in my living room watching this for the first time. It was the
Oh,
best. Oh,
baby owl.
I was sitting on the floor ready for some
Ugh,
sharks, you know?
that's so
Because before
cute.
that, it was just
Hmm.
Jaws, which I
Right.
loved
Right.
so much. And so I'm like, another shark movie? And then I got to see the sharks. It was great. I had the best time. So the film's performance was actually compared to The Mummy and, oh, weirdly enough, as we were talking about this, and The Haunting.
Oh,
I didn't even realize, Sienna,
interesting.
we had this connection. Hint, hint for next
Look at
episode.
that.
Which had a similar budget and made a significant impact on the box office in the summer of
Interesting.
1999.
Okay.
So I think it's
Wow.
kind of funny they're looped in with those.
Yeah.
Home released, it was released on DVD in December of 1999,
Hmm.
courtesy of Warner's Home Video, which I miss. I feel like we don't get the
Oh,
same
yeah.
presentation. And then Blu-ray, October 12th, 2010. And then the 4K
Ugh,
Blu-ray, March
that one
18th,
day I will be able
2025 that
to
I own.
watch.
I was so excited to watch. Got a cool
One
ass fucking
day.
cover. So
Oh.
that's the releases we get of that. So you
Hmm.
may own one of those versions. Critics response. So it was highly beloved blockbuster B
Oh.
movie. Many people kind
Wow.
of say it's and I said this last episode too, it's the best shark film since Jaws. Some people, they're just very different. So it's like Jaws and this
super
are like
tonally distinct. Yeah.
Oh, they're not the same movie, but they're both shark movies in different ways, and
they're
I can
gonna
watch
get
them.
compared. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they're my two favorite shark movies of all time. I can't think of another one that I've seen that I like as much as I like these two. It's definitely like So Bad It's Good cult classic is what people call it. And again, being able to see the sharks is kind of like the entire point. That's why people loved it so much at the time and still. And in a surprise response from critics, Roger Ebert gave this film 3 out of 4 stars, which he doesn't make sense to me. He's praised it, Siena.
Shocking. Oh
hear these words and hear them clear. He praised it as a skillful thriller.
What?
Something not. Listen, I love this movie.
But it's
I
not
would
a
not call this
thriller.
a skillful thriller.
Oh my god.
And I love this movie down, and I would never say that.
How drunk was he when he wrote that?
Oh my god.
Exponentially drunk.
Which we'll talk about that in the next person who also praises it.
Oh my god.
So I have to read you some of what he writes. He wrote,
please.
After slogging through the predictability of countless would-be action thrillers, I admire the sheer professionalism of this one, which doesn't transcend its genre, but at least it honors it. Which, sure.
Okay.
Even though that's not what Rennie Harlan was like. We talked about it. That he wanted to make something like elevated, big, whatever.
Yeah.
He said, he goes on, he ends his review with, the movie is essentially one well-done action sequence after another. It involves all the usual situations in movies where fierce creatures chase victims through the bowels of a ship/spacecraft/ building. The Alien movies, Deep Rising, so he mentions those. It just does that. It's just that it does them well, which I'm like, does he think the other ones doesn't do them well? I don't know. It doesn't linger on the special effects because they were horrible. Some of the sharks look like cartoons, which he notes.
It's true. Okay,
but it knows
because
how
I was wondering, like, did it look better to us in 1999? And this tells us no, it did not.
No. We all knew. We had Jurassic Park. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we
no,
knew
you're
what
so
good
right.
CG could be.
This. I
like,
take it back.
The bar was set, and we've gone downhill since.
And it was high.
Yeah. But it knows how to use timing, suspense, quick movement, and surprise. Deep Blue Sea keeps you guessing. So that's what he wrote about this. Sorry, I slodged through that.
No.
And with someone else who was definitely on some painkillers. This was the first movie horror icon Stephen King saw after his near fatal accident with a van that we talked about in our Dreamcatcher episode.
Oh, he must have had the best time.
he goes, quote, my first trip after being smacked by a van and almost killed was to the movies. I went in my wheelchair and I loved every minute of it.
Oh, that's cute. I'm glad he had a good time. I don't know if he would have had slightly less painkillers, but
yeah, who knows? He hasn't made a peep about it since, so I think that can say everything. Deep Blue Sea has 6 out of 10 on IMDb. It's got 60s from critics, 40 from audiences. Boo.
What?
Listen, everyone's.
I'm sorry, I thought this was going to be like a 33%er. Like,
how dare you? Points for charisma.
Listen,
on this
I
movie.
love some of those, but it felt like one of those kind of like it's.
So
bad
it feels like 20%, 15%, absolutely. And then obviously we get the direct-to-video releases of Deep Blue Sea 2 in 2018 and Deep Blue Sea 3 in 2020. Duncan was a part of those. Those are like the only things he'd really done. Deep Blue Sea also, like, at the time, as we're done now, but it was also always played on Shark Week, and so I think that had a big impact on like people around my age or our age. It was just always played on things, and it was always part of like shark movies. Now we have so many more.
The genre has certainly proliferated in the time since this.
Yeah, but it really, oh man, I love this movie for all of its flaws. I appreciate it more now.
I love that.
I feel like I can hate on it a little bit less because of all the production value. And those sharks, man, I'm telling you, please, everybody go look up videos. There's Deep Blue Sea making of.
I gotta check that out.
Sharks. Yeah, I'll send you the link. I know you, so I'll send you the link. You guys are strangers. I don't know you, so you don't get the link.
We won't be texting. Yeah.
But they're like truly some of the most beautiful animatronics I've ever seen. Like it's
That's really
really
cool.
weird to watch knowing that they're not real animals. I just can't believe what a
Wow.
brilliant job they did. And it's so overshadowed by some of the worst CG we've ever gotten in a movie.
It's real bad. It's
So
like,
I mean, that aside,
God, think how much
I can
better
forgive
this
them for
movie
that.
would work if
Ugh,
the CG scenes were just completely taken out
I
and
wish.
you just had like shots, just the shots of the people running away from the sharks or swimming away
Hmm.
from the sharks and not the
Yeah.
shots of the CG sharks
Yeah.
themselves. It would do
No.
so well.
Yeah, or like little like flashes when they like
Yeah.
recorded real sharks. I'm like, do like
Yeah.
flashes and blurs, like, but yeah,
Absolutely.
they wanted to show too much, and
Ugh.
because
I
of
also feel
that,
like they could have covered up a lot with their like shark POV thing that they were doing, where we're like seeing through the shark's
right,
eyes.
which is so goofy boots,
And
but I love
oh, I
it.
know. And of course, it's like just fish-eyed to shit. They're like, "That's what a
Oh, it's
shark
so
sees."
bad. Oh, I loved it. I
Yeah,
love it. So
that really I enjoyed. Yeah, that was cheese that worked for me.
yeah, yeah. So was it everything that I feel like I hope I led you into that it was a ride and that
I
you weren't expecting something too serious.
I I
Um,
will say I thought based on your description
excuse me.
because
Oh
I had
no.
told you that I'm really scared of deep water. I went
Yeah.
in expecting it to like genuinely scare me, which I think I
Okay.
should not have.
Okay.
But once I like got on board the like, oh no, this is just Goofy Boots.
Mhm.
This is a
Yeah.
Goofy Boots shark movie.
Yeah.
I found it really funny. I did laugh a
Yeah.
lot at it. I don't think it's like,
Perfect.
yeah, to be honest, it's not my thing.
Sure, sure, sure,
It's not
sure.
my favorite shark movie, but it was a really enjoyable like summer shark trash.
It's
Like
easy. Yeah, I was gonna say it is like again, it's a big budget B horror movie.
that's such a good description.
Bless him,
Yeah,
that's not what he wanted to
100%.
make, but that's what it
That's what he
was.
made.
That's what he
Yeah,
made.
sometimes the art speaks for itself.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm so glad you got to see it so people reference it.
Yeah.
You can kind of
Now I
understand
know.
where it fits
Yeah.
in with the pop culture of
Oh, and
shark horror
LL Cool
movies.
J and his parrot, I was in for every single second of
I
that.
know.
Like,
They really needed their
so
own
much
movie.
fun. I know.
They're who I really wanted to see,
The parrot
you
constantly
know?
calling him fat butt killed me. Like, their
It's
dynamic was so cute.
yeah.
Ugh,
Yay.
R.I.P.
Oh my god,
parrot.
that was
That
so
was so much
long.
fun. No,
We really
again, I'm
stumbled
so
through that,
glad
but
because
thanks
my
guys.
half is definitely going to be shorter.
Yeah, there
We've
was
got some
so
really juicy
much.
things, but they're smaller. So,
I'm
chum in
I'm
the
very
water to your
excited.
shark. Yeah.
Yeah, stop. Listen, Chum brings the sharks. You know what I
It's true.
mean? So,
It's true. Now we actually
um,
I feel like I may be kind of underselling it a little bit. There's a lot of like really weird stuff behind how the film happened and the story. There's just not as much on
ooh,
set stuff. But it's like
ooh.
kind
I'm
of
just excited
yeah.
to talk about it
Yeah,
in general.
I have things. There are stories. It
Yay.
has
Yay.
a saga behind its
To
production and how we
sink our
eventually got
teeth in.
there. Yes. Oh yes.
Very
Plenty to bite
excited.
into. Yeah, should we go brush our shark's teeth and come right back?
Yeah,
Do a little
absolutely.
backstroke away? Yeah.
Yeah, I was swimming backwards.
Which apparently
Wait,
sharks can't do. I learned that from
yeah,
this.
no, they can't
Wild.
go backwards. They only go forward.
Oh.
They can't stop moving, you
Oh,
know?
I do know that.
Same.
Which again, very, very Theodore. She's a
Yeah.
shark. Little shark.
Cats are very much shark
They
energy,
are.
so
They have. I
probably is sharks.
strongly believe that sharks are the cats of the sea.
Mhm.
I will
100%. I
die
think
on
there's
that
like
hill.
memes about that. So yeah,
Are
I
there?
agree.
Okay, that I feel comforted by that. All right.
We'll
We'll be
be
right
right
back.
back.
And
And
we're
we're
back. We
back.
spent the break, or at least I spent the break, listening to LL Cool J's song, which I now have stuck in my head. And somebody
So
left the
good.
incredible comment, "This makes me feel like a shark," which I'm now going to be thinking about for the rest of the day.
It's a wonderful world to be part of the Deep Blue Sea
Oh
fandom.
my God. Yeah. I feel like the more we talk
It's
about it, the more I'm getting the appeal.
yeah,
Like,
even like we love to hate
yes.
and love to love it. And it's really just about the vibes and the people.
The vibes, the people, the shark fin
Yeah,
hats,
yeah. Justice for the bird, you know.
justice for the bird. That poor parrot. Did
I
it have a
know.
name? Do we know the parrot's
I
name?
think it bird.
Just bird. Yeah, that seems
Yeah.
right. That seems about
They
right.
really went for it with the name there.
Oh my God. Well, I do have I have a lead-in tid that's kind of,
Ooh.
I put it here because it's a little bit of a tie-in between our two movies, but also because it was the one fact that I found that I absolutely could not verify anywhere. So I was like, let me
Mm.
separate it out from the rest of my notes at least, so
Sure,
you know that this
sure.
is unconfirmed. But so George Miller, who we all know, we all love, he's the Mad Max guy. We'll talk a lot about him on this
Mhm.
episode. He did not direct Dead Calm, but he did produce it, and he was a very involved, hands-on producer, and so we're going to end up talking a lot about him.
Oh, okay.
Thing is, there is a rumor that, again, I could not find confirmed, and I tried so hard, y'all, but
Believe it.
there's a rumor that he actually directed several scenes himself, which makes sense to me.
Mm.
And furthermore, that one of the scenes he directed involved Sam Neill getting attacked by and having to fight off a shark as the ship is flooding with water.
Oh,
And that they
no.
shot this and ended up deciding to cut it because they wanted to keep the fear concentrated on the Billy Zane character, which, if
Yeah.
indeed that is true, I think is a wise decision.
Same,
But
same.
I tried so fucking hard to find evidence of this
Damn.
excised shark scene, y'all.
Oh,
If anybody
man.
else out there has more info about it or can find more confirmation, let me know because I really want that story to be
Yeah,
true.
I'm so interested in that. Oh, man.
Because it very much feels like the next thing you're expecting to come up in the narrative is sharks, and it never happens, but like especially where they are in the Pacific, like they're in
Mhm.
shark country, it feels like that's about to happen. So just I thought I'd leave that as a tid.
Yeah,
Um,
interesting.
so this was your first time seeing Dead Calm. What did you think of it? I feel like in this case,
Yeah.
let's not leave
Yeah.
it to the end.
Sure,
Let's,
yeah, I was like, we gotta get through some stuff with
yeah,
you, Lou. It's funny because like, I had pitched it to you because I was like
yeah.
because I wanted to do Deep Blue Sea because of water stuff, and
Hmm.
I was like, "Oh, it's got Sam
Yeah,
Neill,
you came to me and you're like,
Sienna."
this movie has
And you're like,
everything.
"Yeah, Sam Neill, Billy Zane, Nicole Kidman, her hair,
Oh.
um, and her hair." I You name those 3 people, I'm on board,
Those
literally.
3 people on a boat in particular, like
Billy
Billy
Zane
Zane
Billy
being mean to a redhead on a boat,
Ugh.
like
Billy Zane, being insane in the way that he can do that, like, no one else is like him.
mhm.
Sam Neill, I'm going to like I don't care if I like the movie, I'm gonna like it because Sam Neill's in it.
Yeah.
I am I knew I was gonna like it from the second I looked it up.
Good.
It was so much different than I thought 'cause I knew nothing, no trailer, no
Oh,
nothing.
yeah,
I
that's
didn't
such
realize
a
how isolated it was.
yeah, this is a great one to go into blind because it really is
Yeah,
like
you just
it,
don't know.
yeah,
There's so many
yeah.
different I didn't expect Sam Neill to be just, like, sequestered on that boat the whole like, it
Mhm.
there's so many things, and it was just, like, fun, except for, like, moments where it's not so fun,
Yeah.
one in particular,
Mhm.
but, and then just, like, the, like, false ending of it was
Oh my
so
God, I know.
good. How
There's so
the
many
thing
false endings.
so many. The thing I would say these 2 movies have in common is you're screaming at everybody in both these movies of, "Why are you doing
Oh yeah, absolutely.
why
These
aren't
are
you just doing the thing? You guys are all idiots. All of you are
yeah.
idiots.
Both of
Everyone's an
these
idiot."
have a lot of characters making choices where it's like, if you just didn't do the dumbest possible thing at this moment,
Why are we not using our
everything would be
brains?
fine. And I guess, like, I think the reason why I have sympathy for, like, Nicole Kidman's character in particular is, like, I feel like she really is trying to make the smart decision at all times. It's that
The second half of the film the
that's
second half
fair.
of the film. The
That's
first
fair.
half of the film, she absolutely does
She
nothing,
is too
in my opinion.
trusting. She is far too trusting.
But I loved this
Yeah,
movie, every movie's gonna have something. No movie is
true.
perfect. So, that's always an aside to me. I can't wait to put this on a Sunday morning
Oh,
again.
good.
This is in the rotation of, like, if I'm feeling like water movies, if I'm
Mhm.
feeling some sort of, like,
It's
I
very
need to see these
refreshing. Like, the
it's
shots
so
of her
good.
jumping into the sea, like, you
Ugh.
feel like you're there.
We started
Ugh.
off on that note, and I was like, "This is perfect for the heat
Mhm,
wave."
mhm.
No, it was so delightful,
Oh, good. I'm
and
glad you had
I'm
a fun
happy
time.
that I'm glad that was a good choice. I'm glad that you knew of it.
Absolutely.
It was so fun. So I like
I
loved 10 out of
I
10.
I am so impressed by this movie up until the last 60 seconds, and we're gonna talk about it. But the last 60 seconds
Listen.
is so funny. It's so funny.
It really, that ending should have been in my movie.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're going to talk about why it happened. It's not,
so.
I can't imagine that anybody's going to be surprised to hear that that's a studio decision, but we'll get there.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It always is. So.
It always is. And there's a weird, goofy tacked on ending involving a flamethrower, basically. I know it's a flare, but it's giving flamethrower.
It is. It's giving, we shouldn't be doing that around boats now. But no,
the way it's shot is so goofy too. Like,
it felt like Tales from the Crypt style.
Yes. Oh my god, absolutely. Yeah. Which but obviously, I'm sure this has a lot to do with him getting the role in Demon Knight.
Because this was before.
Yeah.
He does have his hair that looks like it's receding.
It does. Yeah, I had the same comment.
We talk about his hair on mine.
Yes, I said the same thing to Dana. I was like, this must be before he went fully bald, because there's like a couple of angles where like we're seeing his scalp so closely that it's like there's no way that's a wig. Like even the best wig in the world, you would be able to tell.
And why would you give yourself a wig with a receding hairline? You know what
exactly. I mean? As a 23-year-old, why would you do that? That seems like a very odd choice. So, yeah, this is pre-bald Billy Zane. Possibly one of probably just a number you could count on one hand of pre-bald Billy Zane performances. Yeah. So notable for that, if nothing else. And shall we dive in? We ready?
Yeah, I'm so excited to hear. I know you said little, but I'm sure it's all really good stuff.
I mean, it's to be fair, it's not that there's not a lot, it's that it's very top heavy. It's like a lot in the like writing and creation section and not a lot in the production section. There's a little teeny bit, but so
they're on a boat.
They're on a boat. There's boat. Like
2 boats.
It's really, there's only so much you're gonna and also 89 and significantly smaller budget than yours, like, and Australia, like there's a lot of reasons why there just wasn't as much. Like I couldn't find a single behind the scenes video or interview for this film.
Sure, I believe that.
So what I did find though was the production notes written by, I think it was the producer on set, as part of their like their packet that they gave to the press when the film was being released. So that had some good production info. So we'll shout that out. But that's where most of my research came from, that and a location that I cannot disclose yet because it would reveal a very important twist that's coming. Cool. But we'll get there soonish. It's not going to take us that long to get to the twist. So it has been a little while since I've covered any really like noteworthy taglines. So I'm happy to report that this film delivered in that department. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 taglines, and I'm gonna get the wordiest out of the way first, so it kind of gets snappier as we go. We start with a couple alone at sea. When a stranger called for help, they made the fatal mistake. They answered.
It's great. I can hear that in a trailer.
Then we have try to stay calm, which I find so goofy.
I love that. That's
honestly love that one.
This, but it's
I love that one.
Try to stay calm.
It's the tone of the ending.
Like... Yeah, that one fits for whoever decided that.
And then we have in the middle of nowhere, there is nowhere to hide, which I think gets at a lot of like what is so scary about this film is the sense of isolation that they have. Then we have a voyage into fear. And finally, high seas, deep terror, which feels like it could be for your film as much as for mine.
Oh,
but
man, that would have been really good for Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, high seas, deep terror. But yeah, some fun 80s, late 80s, goofy little taglines. Our director is Philip Noyce, who is an Australian director who... Noyce. Oh god, I'm gonna try not to let my terrible Australian accent come out, but I can feel it fighting already.
Sorry, I had to. I saw it come up on like the credits.
No,
that was my immediate response.
Noise. So he also directed Sliver, Clear and Present Danger, The Bone Collector, Salt, the one with oh my god, Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
The Giver, and probably most famously Rabbit Proof Fence. So lots of stuff. Definitely seems to lean towards kind of like the thriller and action side of the genre spectrum. So which I think you very much see. This is definitely a thriller horror. It's on that side. And again, produced by George Miller, who in addition to the Mad Max franchise, also what a career George Miller has had / continues to have. He did Babe, Pig in the City. He
Ugh.
did Happy Feet. He did Witches of Eastwick.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
what a
What
vast and varied, like, tapestry of works he's been a part of.
truly.
The screenplay is by Terry Hayes, who wrote The Road Warrior, and Beyond Thunderdome for Mad Max, and also did Bodyline, Vertical Limit, and From Hell. And Terry's
Ooh.
work is an adaptation of the novel by Charles Williams, who also wrote screenplays and or source material for movies including The Pink Jungle, Diamond Bikini, The Man Who Wouldn't Die, Confidentially Yours, and The Hot Spot. So he's like very much like a hard-boiled, like pulpy noir crime writer,
Yeah.
who also, shout out, according to his IMDb page, grew up partially in New Mexico, which I thought was cool.
Oh.
And the novel is going to be a major player in this episode, so we will get back to it shortly. But first, we've got to talk about our 3 returning performers we have starring. Each of them has appeared in one other episode of our podcast, starting with
Oh
Nicole
my God,
Kidman
yeah.
as Ray Ingram. We talked about her on The Others, and this film came very early in her career, although it was not her first major role. She'd actually been working for 5 years at this point and had
Oh,
just been kind
wow.
of discovered out of nowhere off of an Australian TV show that she did with several of the people who go on to work on this.
Oh,
So
no
she was kind of like
way.
an overnight star at the time that she was cast in this, and
Oh,
she's
wow.
young as hell,
Oh,
and we'll
she's a
talk about it. I
baby in
know.
this. My
She's
God.
Yeah, she looks like an infant. It's wild. Especially seeing her next to Sam Neill, and
Nicole
we will
Kidman.
address it. Don't worry. Obviously, she goes on to make Eyes Wide Shut, Practical Magic, To Die For, Moulin Rouge, Batman Forever, Dogville, Birth, The Stepford Wives, the new version, Killing of a Sacred Deer, which I feel like could be eligible for pod consideration at some point.
Mm.
Top of the Lake, The Northman, Baby Girl, Holland, and most recently, Margot's Got Money Troubles. She's like always going to be an A-lister,
Oh,
I feel like.
God,
She's one
yeah.
of those people who at this point is just, there's never going to be a time that we're not going to want to watch Nicole
Yeah.
Kidman. Our beloved Sam Neill as
Ugh.
John Ingram, also in his second pod appearance after Possession, as you mentioned. Of course, he's best known as Grant from the Jurassic Park franchise. He's also in The Hunt for Red October. He's in The Piano, which I love. He's in Mouth of Madness, which we absolutely
Mhm.
have to cover.
Yeah.
Perfect Strangers, Peaky Blinders, Hunt for the Wilder People, 12. He's amazing. We love him. We miss
Yeah, it's
him.
incredible.
Ugh.
It's been a day and I'm already just like,
I
damn
know, I'm
it.
so sad. I'm like, I couldn't even get through the first rewatch without knowing. Like,
Yeah.
come on. Billy Zane, obviously, is Huey Warrener. We talked about him on Demon Knight, and of course, he's also in Titanic. I always forget that he's in Twin Peaks in the second season, which is so
Oh my
weird.
God,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's in Orlando, Back to the Future, which he had done before this, but it's a pretty small role, so he wasn't
Oh.
that well known at this point. The Phantom, something called
Oh, no.
Silence of the Hams.
He would. He would.
He would.
You don't know that one?
I'm
Not a
We
fan?
gotta cover it on the
The
pod,
Hams?
obviously. MacGruber, and of course he pops up as himself in Zoolander. Across the Zoolander franchise, we get Billy Zane
Funny.
appearances. And we have Rod Mulliner as Russell Bellows, who's the captain of the ship. The ship that has, been
Yes.
oopsied, shall we say. The
Booby
ship
trapped.
that's been oopsied. And he's also in a couple of Australian TV shows like The Hunter, Bellbird, and True Story with Hamish and Andy, as well as Breaker Morant. None of those are terribly familiar to me, but I hope they are to some of our Aussie listeners, and we do actually have a surprising number of Aussie listeners, so I hope that that's like ringing some bells for some listeners out there. And now we get to dive into the source material, which oh my God. So the source material and the other version of this film are going to be the 2 biggest things that we talk about for this episode.
Oh.
So to start with our novel, Deep Call the book comes out in 1963, and it's actually a sequel to a book called Aground, which introduces the characters of John and Ray, but never really seems to have gotten to the same level of like notoriety as its sequel. In the book, it's actually their honeymoon. They're like, they've just gotten married and they're taking a honeymoon trip. So the dead kid is an addition for the movie.
Yikes.
Classic. Why do I keep picking these films? Um, and there are several other interesting differences between the book and the film, particularly the exclusion of a few key characters in the adaptation who are present in the novel. So they reduce it down to these three characters. It's more than that in the book.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. Interesting
so,
choice.
and the characters that they take out are fascinating. In the
Really?
book, Russ Bellows, that captain of the boat Huey's on, survives and is alive when John goes over
Oh.
to that ship, and so is, drumroll please, Huey's wife. In the
Oh.
book,
Oh.
Huey has a wife and
Yikes.
she's survived. Yeah. And we learn from the survivors in this version when John goes over there. Basically, John goes over there. The captain tries to attack him. Presumably, I think
Sure.
he thinks that it's Huey come back.
Yeah,
And then he
absolutely.
finds out from them what's happened. And what has happened in this version is that Huey was diving with the captain's wife. And the whole like it's a cruise full of hot ladies taking photos around the South Pacific is
Mhm.
not a thing in the book. That is just
Okay,
for the
that
movie.
makes sense. Yeah.
And so in the book, it's like a couple of families who are like taking a vacation together, basically. And Huey was diving with the captain's wife, and he has an attack of agoraphobia underwater and accidentally kills her when he tries to climb on top of her shoulders to
Oh.
get back above the
Oh,
water, which then,
no.
when he comes back to the surface, leads him to have a psychotic break when he gets to the
Oh,
top and realizes what
wow.
he's done. And that is what
Mm.
leads him to like go on this killing spree.
Whoa.
And then
Sure.
in very 60s fashion, we find out from his wife, we get the like classic psycho style diagnosis moment,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
where we find out that he has like a bad relationship with his dad and a vaguely like
yeah.
Norman Batesy relationship with
Oh,
his mom,
God.
and that's part
Okay.
of the reason that he was so
Oh,
susceptible to
Lord.
this.
So many
Um,
things that we didn't need, but
so
great.
many
Okay.
things.
Okay.
There's also like in the book he's supposed to be like a really gifted artist, which I feel like we get these
Hmm.
little hints of with the way he's constantly talking about like her bone structure and stuff like that.
Right, right. Like he's
Um,
romanticizing something.
Something, yeah. But he also is kind of like implied to have some kind of a learning disability, even though we never find out what it is. So like there's a
That is
lot. There's a
layered.
lot. It's layered. Yeah. Also in the book, he's kind of described as asexual too, which is very much not how Billy Zane plays it.
Yeah,
Um,
no. Whoa.
so
What a
wildly
difference.
different. Yeah. But I think I can probably guess some of, not all of, but some of why the movie is so different than the book, which is that the book is in a dead ringers type of situation based on a real life series of murders.
Ooh,
And I suspect
no.
that the adaptation was based more on the real events.
Yeah.
So,
Ooh,
we're going to talk
yeah.
about the real events. Trigger warning here for murder, suicide, and the deaths of children.
Oh,
We had somebody
God.
very wisely point out on TikTok that the last time I gave a trigger warning, I didn't say what it was for, and that's not very useful. So, I'm trying to get better at that.
Ah,
Um,
makes sense.
so, um, real series of murders at sea took place in 1961 on a boat called the Bluebell. And what happens is we're going to speed forward a little bit in the story to essentially where the book picks up. There's an
Mm.
oil tanker crew that sees a man in a dinghy signaling towards them. And when he reaches them, he starts yelling, "Help, help, I have a dead baby on board." And he tells them that his name is Julian Harvey, that he's been in this terrible squall, that he's the captain of this ship that just went down in this storm, and that he's got this dead child on the dinghy with him.
Hmm.
That he and his wife were working as crew on this boat. He's the captain, she's cooking for them, that was
Mhm.
chartered by this vacationing family of 5. And he says the storm destroyed the ship. It like crashed their masthead. There was a fire. There's all this stuff that goes horribly
Wow.
wrong. He wasn't able to rescue anybody. And as he's escaping on the dinghy, this child's body floats by him. And so, trying to do the right thing, he pulls the child out of the water, tries to resuscitate her, doesn't succeed, and is like, the least I can do is take her body, right?
Hmm.
That's his version of the story.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. Ugh.
everybody's like, something about this seems a little bit off for a couple
Yeah.
of reasons. Number one, he's really, really calm telling it. And that doesn't
Dead
seem
calm.
like how exactly he's dead calm telling this. And we all know people respond to traumatic situations in different ways.
Absolutely.
Like,
However,
you know, we can't judge somebody just based on that. But the other thing that's a little bit suspicious is that the life raft that he's on, or the dinghy that he's on, is full of survival supplies that would have been helpful in the specific story that he's described, but he hasn't used any of them. And so everybody's like, okay, that's a little bit suspicious, but it's his word against nobody's. So
right.
what are we supposed to think? And so he gets taken back to shore. The police start questioning him, but nobody's really able to disprove it until 3 days later,
Oh no.
another boat finds an 11-year-old girl named Terry Jo. She's alive. Terry Jo survives. And she's floating alone on a cork raft with no food or water, circled by sharks since the Bluebell sank. She's been there for 3 days.
Terrifying.
Yeah. And at first she is too weak to describe anything about what's happened. They like try to ask her some questions, and she's a child. She's just been floating surrounded by sharks with no food or water for 3 days. Like, what do you expect? She gets flown to a hospital. She gets really good care. And eventually she regains the ability to speak and describes what really happened. And it is so horrifying.
It sounds fake.
I know.
It all sounds so fake.
It's like, so scary.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
So, here's Terry Jo's version of the story. The night that the boat sank, she had gone to bed early. She was the first one to go to bed. Everybody else stays up to play cards. She goes to her room and gets woken up in the middle of the night by the sound of her brother screaming for her dad to come help. And so she wakes up and she runs out and runs up to the deck, where she sees her mother and her brother dead on the deck. And she's like,
my God.
Oh my God. And then she turns around and there comes Captain Harvey carrying a bucket. And he hits her over the head with the bucket.
Jesus.
And then directs her back down below, is like, get back down there. And so she does, and then her cabin starts to flood. So she eventually sneaks her way back up. When she gets back up to the top, she finds the captain is messing around with the dinghy. He like threatens her with a gun. There's this whole thing. And then he asks her, bizarrely, if she thinks the dinghy's tether is loose. And she's like, I'm 11. I don't know. What do you want me to say?
I don't want to help you.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be on your side now?
Yeah,
you just threatened me with a gun. What do you want from me?
I'll tell you if you take me.
Yeah, and so she's like, I'm not sure, dude. And he panics, thinking that it might be untethered, and jumps off, swims over to the dinghy, and abandons her, leaving her to die on this sinking ship, which is what he thinks is going to happen. Thank God she doesn't, because when she's able to reveal this story, people start looking into Captain Harvey's background, and it turns out Captain Harvey had just taken out a double indemnity policy on his wife and was probably planning to murder her at sea, frame it as a disappearance, and collect the insurance using the vacationers as witnesses. But what likely happened is that somebody in the family saw him in the midst of killing or trying to kill his wife, and so he killed all of them too, which is extra scary because according to the timeline of this story that Terry Jo tells us, in the time between her brother screaming for help and her making it up there, he's killed 2 people. Like, that's crazy, because she heard her brother screaming, and by the time she's up there, he's dead, and so is his mom. So, it's wild. It is horrible. And that wasn't even the first time that this captain had something like this happen. He had a decades-long history of family members being killed and ships being sunk in incidents that led to him collecting large insurance payouts.
Listen, ocean is still a lawless place. Like, that's like, there's a statistic of people, couples going on cruises and their wives or children going missing or falling off.
Yeah.
Because nothing can be done, even if they're found. Or if you murder something, it's just like, there's no, you aren't in, it's like, was it, like
international waters.
International waters.
Yeah. Ugh.
So
luckily we do have a happy ending for Terry Jo. She goes on to live a long and fulfilling life. She writes openly about the experience. So if you're interested in this story and want to read more
Yeah.
about it. She's like written a whole book about it.
Oh, wow.
And her rescue actually leads to new laws being implemented that all lifeboats and rafts have to be bright orange in order to be easier to spot, because hers
Dang. Good for
wasn't. She was
her.
on just like a whitish beige raft,
Jesus
and it made it a
Christ.
lot harder to see her because, like, surf is white. And so
Yeah.
now that's why all flotation devices have to be oranges because of
No
Terry Joe.
way. Shut the
Yeah.
fuck up. I never knew that. Way to go,
So,
Terry Joe.
I know. Thanks, Terry Joe. I mean, horrible that this happened, but I feel like I had to at least end by giving us
Mhm.
a more uplifting story at the end there.
Yeah.
So, that's the first of our two biggest, meatiest things to get
Damn.
into. The
That is
second
meaty.
and even meatier is the unfinished version of this film. Because
Oh,
again,
how is that meteor? Oh no.
this is not the first time that an adaptation of Deep Calm, the novel, was shot, but it is the first time that one was released. Do you know
Wow.
about this? Because I
No.
know. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad. Because I
I
know
barely
since you
knew
were the
about this
one,
one.
since you were the one who suggested it, I was worried that you'd like found this in looking it
No.
up to see if there was enough. There is an unfinished version of the same film by none other than Orson fucking Welles.
No. Whoa. That was
Yes.
not a name that I was expecting
I
you to
know.
say. With
Isn't that
that, I forgot
wild?
about him.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Haven't
Rosebud
heard that name in a
himself.
while.
Our Citizen Kane hero.
Wow.
So let's dive into
Damn.
this ill-fated Wells adaptation and what happened
Yikes.
to it and what went wrong.
He's like, how dare
Um
you dig that back up? He's
I
gonna come up from
know.
his grave.
Actually, as we get into it, he probably would be mad, but we'll get there. So, Wells actually scooped the rights up the same year that the book came out, back in 1963, saying that, quote, "My hope is that it won't be an art house movie. I hope it's the kind of movie I enjoy seeing myself. I felt it was high time to show that we could make some money," which becomes particularly tragic given what happens to Wells's version, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
Um, so he retitles it The Deep and adapts it himself, which
Oh,
also feels like a
okay.
little bit of a tie into yours when I said that there's
Yeah.
like an alternate name.
Mhm.
This is what I was thinking of. He starts shooting sometime between 1966 and 1968. I've seen reputable sources cite years anywhere in between there, which is
Sure.
tells you how muddied the waters around this film are. Um, and shoots periodically off again, on again until 1969. So 1 to 3 years, depending on
Oh,
which
wow.
version you're reading. He shoots off the Dalmatian coast in Yugoslavia, which is not an area that I've typically thought of as a
Mm-mm.
destination for shooting ocean movies. And I think we're going to find
Sure.
out why. Um, this film stars actually a pretty star-studded cast. We've got Jean Moreau from Jules and Jim, famous French actress, as
Mm.
Huey's wife, the character that gets cut.
Yeah.
We have Wells' partner, girlfriend at this time, Oja Kodar as Ray. We have Wells himself as the captain of the ship.
Oh, that's fun.
I know. We have Michael Bryant from Goodbye, Mr. Chips as John. And we have Lawrence Harvey from the OG version of The Manchurian
Mm.
Candidate as Huey.
Oh, wow.
And as you might guess from that very long off again, on again production schedule and the fact that it never got released, production did not, in fact, go smoothly.
Yeah.
The first thing that kept interrupting the shoots was weather, which I think is largely part of why you usually don't shoot ocean movies in Yugoslavia. Um, but which was like related to Wells having a deal to get it shot cheaply there. It was not because he liked the
But
look of that location.
there were no weather
Um,
apps. Not that they're doing anything for us now in
exactly.
2026, but damn.
um, like that's very different from shooting a movie like off the coast of Queensland, which is where this ends up shooting.
Mm.
That's Australia
Oh,
is
both of us
known for
are
its
Queensland.
beaches. Yes, we're going to talk about it.
That's funny.
So there's weather keeps interrupting. They keep running out of money. Actors had commitments to other projects, which is why usually you
Yeah.
can't shoot something over the course of like 3 years.
Right.
It's hard to align people's
Wild.
schedules for that long. But even with all of that, the tragedy of The Deep is that the majority of it actually did get shot. The
Oh,
major thing that
no.
wasn't shot was this ending climactic boat explosion that we get in this version where you see the boat go up in flames, which is,
Mhm.
it's gorgeous in this. Obviously, that's going to need more money. But that's the primary scene that he doesn't have filmed. Apart from that, he has most of the rest of the movie.
Dang.
And you would think you could kind of piece something together, even if you don't have
Yeah.
that.
Like a
You could
miniature or something.
absolutely. Like, there are ways, if that's the main thing you're missing, there should be ways to work around that,
Yeah,
right?
girl, you're somewhere else. You got ways to make that happen.
I know. Of all of the film wizards who could find another way, I think he has the creativity. The other thing he doesn't have is a big chunk of ADR by the end of 1969. And a
Oh.
lot of the dialogue had to be ADR because of the sound of the boat engines, because boat engines were really
Oh, I
loud.
didn't even
Our
think about
microphones were
that.
less sensitive at the time. Like, there were a lot of reasons why you just couldn't have, you had to post sync this sound. Um, so those are the two things he's missing. And he's not even missing all the ADR, just some of the ADR, which, like, again, these all seem like very
Man.
handleable problems.
Yeah.
So now we're at the end of 69. Wells at this point starts trying to cut trailers with what he's got to put together enough money to finish the film.
Wow, he's already at that point. So
Yes, yeah. So he's clearly, if he's got enough to start cutting trailers, he's got a decent amount of footage. You can find stills from this. We'll get into more of what remains today, but so he's cutting trailers. He does his own version with voiceover narration explaining the scenes that are missing, being like, and here's what happens here. And he puts in his own temp voice tracks for the ADR that's missing so that he can put
smart.
together as much of it as makes sense. And then he reaches out to Charlton Heston because he's like, hey, Charlie, I want you to be the actual narrator when we do the redubbing.
Yeah.
Tries to get Charlton Heston on board.
Wow.
But he can't scrape together quite enough money to get that final boat explosion. And then in 1973, the actor playing Huey dies, and the project dies with him.
Oh.
But let's think about that for a second. If the scene that you're missing is the boat
Just
explosion,
the boat explosion. And
why do you need Huey, right?
I was gonna say someone else can also like do his voice, I'm sure, if there's like
Yeah.
anything needed from him in that sense. Like
Especially if you're already having to post sync the whole thing.
Yeah, whole
Okay,
different
get a different
actor.
actor to do his voice. Like, there are ways around this, right?
Yeah. Oh no, is that
Something
his
doesn't
excuse?
something's fishy at this point,
Something's
or isn't it?
fishy.
And so here, a whole other round of issues and controversies emerges, and they are juicy.
Oh
So
God.
there are rumors amongst actors who'd worked with Wells, including Jean Moreau, one of the stars of the film, that he actually did finish the film, but privately decided against it being shown because he wasn't happy with it. Thing
Oh.
is, which he did do on some projects, he was like, I'm
Sure.
shelving
I
that
can
one.
see
I don't think
that.
it's up to my standards.
Yeah.
Thing is, Jean Moreau also said that she thought it would turn out to be a really strong movie and that she was really proud of the work. Everybody who was on it talked about it being a good movie, talked about
Yeah.
it being something that had every reason to turn out well, even despite all of these issues that it came up against. Thing is,
Oh God.
here's where more drama comes in. So Jean Moreau herself had a brief fling with Orson long before production. Like, this is years in the
This is going.
past. Of
Yeah.
course that's where this is going.
I fucking knew it.
Of course it is. So, long before production, they'd had this little thing. And there are two drastically different accounts of inter-actress jealousy on the set. So when Oja, his eventual partner, who's playing young Ray in this movie, is in her 70s, decades and decades onward from this, she insists in multiple interviews on the record
Oh my God.
that the reason it wasn't finished was because Jean Moreau was jealous of her being younger and having a bigger role, and so refused to dub the ADR that was needed.
I thought you were gonna say
And
bigger
that,
rack.
oh my God, I
Bigger role.
mean, bigger rack, bigger role, and that Harvey's death just ended up becoming like a convenient public excuse to save face.
Sure. Oh my God.
This seems odd to me, given a few different things. For one, Moreau always spoke really highly of the project and of Orson Welles, always talked about it in like the highest possible terms, always talked about the experience of working on it and working with him in the highest possible terms. And she also talked about the difficulty they had finding a time to do an ADR session. And she said, it was just because Orson was traveling all the time. I live in France, he lives in the United States, and he's constantly flying around to do projects in different places. And we were literally just never in the same place at the same time.
Sure.
Which, like, I'm sure you could have figured out a way to make it work. But also, if that was really the thing keeping you from it, again, have another actor dub it. Have another actor dub it.
Yeah. There's lots
she's
of
a French
solutions.
actress. She's going to be speaking with a very heavy French accent. You could decide to dub it with somebody else just to have somebody with an American accent do it. Films do that all the time.
Yeah,
We
we've
talked about that
covered
on The
films that
Wicker
do that.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there are ways around this. So anyway,
Interesting.
that seems weird to me. However, the other side to this story comes from Mauro Bonanni, who was Wells's editor on another unfinished project of Wells's around the
Oh,
same time.
okay.
And so Mauro says that because he was working on this other film with Orson at the time, and Orson had the footage for The Deep, Orson asks him at one point, "Hey, will you also help me finish this one up? Because, like, I've got 99% of it. I just need to, like, tweak a couple little things."
Mm-hmm.
And Mauro says that he told Orson, quote, "I told him one day at lunch, it was just me and him. Can you imagine, Wells, the day when the movie comes out, there will be a few reviews and they'll all speak only of the leading actress Oja. Because of this, there was a deathly silence on his part, and that's why we did not do any more work on it. There were scenes with her that still did not work because unfortunately at that stage in her career she was having trouble. And tellingly, Orson and Oja do 2 other films together. And in the film immediately following this one, he gives her like a handful of lines. Like, she's a lead, but she's almost entirely silent. The last film they do together, she has no lines at all. So
Oh.
take from that what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
will.
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Interesting.
so wild controversy, some incredibly
Jeez.
different stories. Did Orson Welles bury it? Was it based on Jean Moreau's jealousy? Was it based on Orson secretly thinking his partner did a terrible job? We may never know.
All of it.
All of the above, a terrible combination of it. Whatever the truth is.
Interesting.
I know! It's like so
Buried under the
cursed.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever the truth is, the original negative eventually gets lost, and all that's
Damn
left
it.
now are 2 work prints, one in
Right.
black and white and one in color. But they're still there, they're still in existence. They're held in the collection of the Munich Film Museum, and there have
Mm,
been efforts to try and reconstruct as much of the film as possible. But of course, there are still missing lines and scenes. Thing is, like,
sure.
if somebody wanted to make this, and there were several times when there was almost enough funding to make this a go, to do like a full restoration of this
Oh,
film.
really? I
And
was
I've seen
wondering.
people, yeah, and I've seen people say this is likely the most salvageable unfinished Orson Welles film that exists. And like,
What are we
he has
doing?
a ton of unfinished films, and we just got a release of The Other Side of the Wind, which was like his famous, infamous final unfinished film that came out in what, like 2018, 2019? So like, there is an interest in Orson Welles
That's
reconstructions. And this one is,
so weird.
we've got so much of the material. We've got his original shooting script.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 2 different prints. It was
What are
supposed to be in
we
color, but like,
doing?
you can still use footage from the black and white one and colorize
Yeah,
it.
who
Like, we have
cares?
the
Just put it
technology.
together.
And it's
Damn.
also like, having seen the film, like, Orson Welles would rock this shit. It would be so
Right.
good.
It
Like,
would be. That's so shocking because it
I
just would
know.
feel like it probably would be up there with, I feel like
Absolutely.
some of
Like
his
Touch of Evil,
bigger.
and yeah, like
Sure.
some of his really famous
That's
like
so,
noir
I wonder what
crime thrillers. Yeah.
happened. Oh,
So
can you imagine if that came out?
petition to restore Orson Welles as the Deep. Like, it's
Yeah.
there's gotta be some millionaire out there willing to slap their name on
Right?
that in
Listen, there's
exchange for
plenty of
getting it
money out there.
restored.
Just
Literally.
I'm wondering if we would have gotten this. So was there only that one and then this one?
Yes, and
And
that's
that's
it.
been
And there have
it.
been no other remakes either.
It's
That's it. And it's
wow.
a really compelling story too,
It's
right?
great. That's what's so like it's
Mhm.
hearing what the source material was too, and then how much they pared it down, which I
Yeah.
think was so smart to do.
Oh,
But also
absolutely.
I could see it being the other version too, or the
Being
original
really
version too.
interesting. Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
I would be
So
fascinated to see the version where we get to hear from Huey's wife. Like, that could be really
mhm,
good.
yeah.
Um, so
Damn.
that is the history leading up to
So cool.
1985. And in
Uh,
1985, American filmmaker Tony Bill tries to get the rights to
mm.
take his own stab at doing an adaptation, but Oja does not want to part with them to anybody that she sees as being part of the Hollywood establishment, because she
Oh.
felt like it had mistreated Orson, and she was like, you don't get his story, which
Oh my
I
god.
respect.
Yeah, me too.
Um, but Tony being the good-hearted person that he is, then shows the book to director Philip and is like, look, I wasn't able to talk her into giving it to me, but I think you should read this. Director Philip reads it, loves it, shows it to producer George Miller of Mad Max fame. And as Philip says, quote, George Miller, who's a doctor, has a marvelous bedside manner. He approached Oja and convinced her that we didn't want to do a Hollywood version of the story, and that the adaptation would be done in the spirit of what we imagined would please Orson. She agreed, and then Tony very generously allowed us to make the film without his participation. So, 3 months after Orson Welles dies in 1985, Oja, who's inherited the rights from him when he dies, agrees to sell them to George Miller's company for $180,000. There were some wild panics along the way about whether she actually had the rights clear to sell. But they just decide to like charge forward with production anyway, because they're like, we've invested too much money in it at this point, and it never falls apart. So we don't know how that got resolved, but it might have honestly just been chutzpah.
Yeah, truly.
It gets made one way or the other. And as for how this new project related to Orson's version, George Miller actually says in the production notes that, quote, we were extremely careful not to follow in the footsteps of the master and look at any part of what remained of his film. We never even read the screenplay that Wells shot. So they really tried to, like, adapt the source material rather than recreate, which I think is all the more reason that we should have a restoration of the Wells version, because this is not trying to be that, right? Especially because it starred the man himself. Like, that's... I'm so sad that we've missed out. So, moving into production, do you want to take a stab at the budget?
Oh my god.
89 Australia.
God, everyone's like such kind of like a baby too.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm gonna say like, oh my god,
I don't think we had any crazy actor salaries, I'll say.
I'm either gonna grossly under or grossly over guess, like 5 million.
You're not far off, actually. You're in a good ballpark. So it's 10 mil in 89 Australian money, which I then like did some digging to try and figure out the rough conversion rate. I think it would be somewhere around 7.5 to 7.8. So yeah, under 10 million in US dollars at the time. The shoot lasted 14 weeks. It was a long one.
My goodness.
And it takes place in Queensland, which I mentioned, and which of course came up on your half of the episode too. And fascinatingly, they actually shot this almost all in the area around the Great Barrier Reef, which was a really intentional choice.
Funny.
Because the reef keeps the waters calm, which you need for the film's title.
That makes sense.
Which, like, that is so
glassy
brilliant.
Water. There was one shot that, like, I was like, holy shit.
And obviously, for the title, you need that to be the case. And that's not how ocean water usually is. Where in the world is that going to be the case? In the Great Barrier Reef, where there's this, like, protective wall, which, like, so cool. There was some soundstage work, but they did it very cleverly. They actually, I loved this. They built their own soundstage on an island near where they were shooting, where they had set up a giant tank and constructed the interior sets on these giant flotation devices so that the crew could rock them like they're in a storm on open water.
Smart.
Which, and it gives the movement this much more convincing look than a typical floodable set. Like, thinking about like the behind the scenes we saw for like Room 1408, where it's like that's a traditional floodable set where like the water's movement is very coordinated. This is similar. It really has that kind of like rocky, choppy, out in the ocean feeling to it. That's how they got it. But for most of the shoot, they were actually out on open water shooting on the actual boats. And they actually, the cast and crew mostly lived on boats for the majority of the shoot, according to Nicole.
Cute.
Which is cute, except for the fact that the first couple weeks, everybody was seasick.
Oh, man. Do you get seasick?
I'm trying to think. I've been on very few boats, actually. I've never been seasick. I've been on like but I haven't been on like really far out open water much. And when I have, it's usually been in really small boats, and I feel like it's easier on a small boat. I don't know if that's true.
Do you? I feel like I get seasick on a small. My family, I had a boat growing up for a little bit, and then they got rid of it. But smaller ones, like weirdly, because I can feel the waves more, make me seasick.
Oh, interesting. I feel like being closer to the water, I have an easier time, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. But
listen, if those waves are moving, it doesn't matter what size the boat is.
Very
I
fair.
will be seasick if the waves are rocking the boat.
Ugh. Yeah, has not happened to me yet, but I can't say
Oh,
that it won't
I have horror
happen.
stories.
Oh
Grease ferries
no.
from one island to another during a storm.
Oh, oh
Barf bags
God.
being passed
Ugh.
around me. Hearing
Oh
everyone yakking.
no,
Suitcases
no.
flying. I had
Oh
to keep my
God.
eyes closed for 2 hours because I was like, if I even open an eye,
Ugh.
I will
Yeah,
be
I'm gonna
yakking.
see things that will make me yak. Yeah.
But made it on the other side,
Oh
baby.
my God. Oh. So moving on from the yakking, diving into cast and
Sorry.
crew. No, 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 no. Baby Nicole, how baby was she? Um,
Yeah.
at the time that she shoots this,
Oh my goodness.
she is just 20 years old.
Ah! Oh
She's
my
a
god,
20-year-old.
she's a
She's
fetal
a child.
kidman.
Yes, a fetal
She's a kid,
kidman.
man.
Yes, she's a kid, man.
Damn.
She's 22
Holy
when it comes out.
smokes.
And I think Billy Zane is like 23 when it comes out, so they're actually very close
Oh
in
my
age. He's just 1
gosh.
year older than her. She
Wow.
just worked as the director on a miniseries called Vietnam, which was part of what really helped like catapult her career in
Mhm.
Australia. But this is actually the film that launches her Hollywood career because Tom
Oh.
Cruise sees this and
Oh
helps her
god.
get cast in Days of Thunder, which is her first movie in Hollywood. So this
What?
is like the film that
They
sets
date?
off the let's just
Ew.
ignore that. Let's just ignore
Ah, you
that.
just pulled her over to be like, I'll. Ugh.
Ugh.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
that's that. But yeah, this is the film that gave us the Nicole Kidman of like Moulin Rouge and all the stuff from
Wow.
there on. This also, because of that, means that the character of Ray has to be rewritten from the novel where she's older, because, you know, she's closer to her husband's age in the book.
Mhm.
But director Phillips says, quote, don't know how I feel about
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
but he
Uh-oh.
says we felt the audience could identify more with a young woman because as a kind of rite of passage, she goes from weakness to power, from girlhood to womanhood, from loss to regrowth. Which I'm like,
Why do we have to do that?
I know, like I feel like I can kind of
20.
see what you're getting at, but like let's just
How old's she
not.
supposed to be in the movie? Because I'm like, she's a whole ass kid. She's like,
Yeah. In the movie the idea is that she's 24. But
okay, that
like she's yeah,
still,
she's got a kid in the
it's
movie.
wild.
Yeah, it's a lot. Um and shout out to Sam Neill who recognized how weird it is that they have such a giant age gap and
Love
actually
him for that.
said in an interview with Mark Maron a few years ago,
Oh,
quote, I know, quote, she was fantastic. I'm not sure if that would be appropriate these days. I think I was 41 and she was 22 or something like that. So love that he recognized it, love that he
yeah,
called it
he would.
out. Of course he would. He's such
I'm
a
sure he was
good person.
lovely on
Yeah,
set
I'm
too. I can only
sure.
imagine.
But it also like it really adds to the weirdness of the dynamic between these three characters that like she's almost young enough to be her husband's daughter and she's the same age as her kidnapper, more or less. Like it's
Listen, now I get why some of her choices were stupid.
yeah, she was a 20-year-old. Like
Yeah,
what do we
yeah,
want
yeah,
from
yeah.
her?
Makes sense. Makes
Um
sense.
but also shout out to baby tiny Nicole because she actually learned to sail for this role so that her movements would look convincing and she ended
Cool.
up really enjoying it. So a lot of what you're seeing is real Nicole Kidman. Obviously there are
I believe
stunts
it.
that are not her performing them, but like she did a lot and like
Mm-hmm.
that woman is statuesque and strong. I
I love
believe that
her.
she knows her way around a boat.
Yeah.
Um so by which I mean like she's tall enough that I feel like she could actually like
She could
hoist
reach
sails.
things.
That's what I'm getting at by that. Um
That's so funny. That's not what I
I
was thinking, but yes, also you are correct.
and Spielberg has actually cited this Sam Neill performance as one of the main reasons he cast him in Jurassic Park. And even
No.
in his most recent, in his memorial post about Sam's passing, thanked Philip Noyce for helping introduce him,
No
the
way.
director of this film. Yeah.
Whoa.
So it's really
Ugh.
like
That's so
I
I had
know.
no idea.
Such fucking tragic timing. Ugh, can't get
Yeah,
too
I know.
caught
I'm
up in
like, I
it.
can't think about it too
I
much.
know. Gotta keep moving. Billy Zane was basically a total unknown at the time. Again, he'd been in a couple of things, but it was all very small roles, and so he wasn't
Mhm.
somebody that like he was not a marquee name.
Sure.
Which was exactly what the filmmakers wanted to replicate the Ingrams' own sense of unfamiliarity with a stranger. They wanted it to be an
So
unfamiliar
smart.
face. So they did a giant search. He was one of 40 actors to make it to the finalist
Oh
round
my
based on taped
gosh.
auditions. And then as a director, Phillips says, quote, It was purely one of those cases where an actor completely tested himself into the movie. He gave us something that was totally fascinating without being neurotic or strange. I don't know if I agree with not neurotic or strange, but okay. Billy's acting is always on the edge, always surprising in his choices of how to play a scene. He's
Mhm.
entirely spontaneous, totally fresh, which I just like. This is so
He
sweet.
is,
He
though. That's what
is.
makes him so perfect. He's so, like he really
Mm-hmm.
does you do not know what he's going to do next. As a fan
Yeah.
of his, I never know
Mm-hmm.
what choice he's gonna make as a
He's
actor, as a
he's
character.
so unpredictable, and the flashes of like the emotional like switches that he flips in this movie,
Mhm.
he manages to make all of them feel convincing and real in a way that is really
Yes.
hard for an actor to do.
Yes.
Like that is so impressive. Um
Mhm.
Apparently also the filmmakers left Billy Zane and the actors playing the other Orpheus occupants, the ones in the like
Yeah.
videotapes that we see, they left them on an island together for a couple
They've
of days where he was able to
Oh
like start
god.
building his
Couple of
backstory of like,
days.
I know that's like a long time to be left with a bunch of
Girl, give him 4
strangers.
hours.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's all you need. So I'm
That's
super curious about
insane.
that. Um, and our last lovely little cast note is that the dog actor, whose name was Benji,
Ben.
was everyone's favorite performer to work with because he was a
I
one
believe
take
it.
wonder and just got
Uh,
everything perfect like the first time. Ben is
Justice for
also
Ben.
I know that's such a hard death.
Oh
Both
my
of
god, it
these movies,
hurts.
the pets dying are like
Mhm.
terrible.
Yeah, so rude.
Um but Ben is actually an addition just for the film. That's not something that's in the book, and it's not something in
Oh.
Orson Welles' version. And to me, that moment where she throws the keys and Ben jumps in the water to fetch
Oh,
them,
right.
that's like the biggest heart drop of the movie. That like,
Yeah.
oh my god. It
It
is so well plotted the way it gives
it's
us all the
perfect.
pieces, and then we see that like every little thing that we thought was just fun little character development
Yep,
was setting up something
all
about to go
set up.
wrong.
That's what
Yeah.
was so nice. Like, again, that's what made it all the more hard with the
Mhm.
arrow and the door, because it's just
I
like,
know.
you
He's
think it
so
actually might be her
good.
escape
Yeah.
at some point, and then to have it be flipped too, it really does, like it bamboozled the hell out of me.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
didn't
you
even
never know where it's
think
gonna
about
go.
it. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, it was perfect, and he was every time
He's
he was
so
on
good.
screen.
I
Mabel
know.
watches dogs on TV.
Oh.
She
Oh.
watches episodes of Wishbone, like, she'll watch them on
That's
my
so
phone, whatever,
cute.
and she was a big fan of Ben,
Of Ben.
and
Oh, I
he
love
was
that.
so cute.
Mabel
That
has a
was
new
such a
screen
s
crush.
She does, that's what I always say. I'm like, "Do you like him?" But his perfor that was such a good dog, and that was such a
I
good,
know.
character to bring in because it's
Right?
so isolated to have that,
Mhm.
like, one extra. I feel like it needed it. It would have fallen a
Yeah.
lot flatter, weirdly enough.
It does so much to humanize the whole dynamic, and I think especially like because John is all on his own and Ray it has nobody there except for this horrible madman. Like
Yeah.
the relationship between her and her dog is the only positive relationship that we get for a giant chunk of
Mhm.
the movie. And also
Yeah.
I think in so many films the like dog as man's best friend, dog as deus ex machina trope comes in where like the dog ends up saving the day, and the fact that this is like
Mhm.
the exact opposite of that
Yeah.
multiple
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I thought too, and the fact that, like, Billy Zane's character is Huey is, like, this like, you kind of, like, don't understand his motives, but then, like, he could have easily killed the dog himself,
Absolutely. And the fact
and,
that
like
she is the one who does is
yeah, there was so
oh.
many, like, flip-flops of like,
Yeah.
these gut punches
Mhm.
that were so necessary, to
Yeah,
make it all the more scary and human
mhm.
too, like, that's such a
Especially
real
with such a simple setup. They make
super
so many
simple.
complex twists along the way,
Mhm.
which is just
Really
so
smart.
satisfying. Yeah, and really well paced too. Like I'm always
Yeah.
by 14 minutes into this film, we've met our killer, and by 25 minutes into this
Damn,
film, we found
yeah.
out about like the mass murder that's taken
Oh
place.
my
Like it
god. Is it really?
really
It
goes at a clip. Yeah.
cruises.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
cruises.
it does.
Yeah, it sets you all. I mean, geez, the opening in itself, but yeah, the second he's rowing over, I was just screaming, "Why would you let him
Mhm.
in? Why would you
Oh, I
let him up?
know.
Why would you let him go down there? Why would you
I
let him?" And then
know.
it's just like it's not for as simple and like not over the top this movie is, your heart's
Mhm.
pumping the entire time, and I was not expecting that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really it feels
It's
very actually like
sweaty.
Hitchcockian to me. Like it's
Yeah,
got that kind
yeah,
of like
yeah.
a pacing to it.
Yes,
Um
yes.
and especially like Billy Zane's monologue about like the bad canned salmon. Oh, there's something about that delivery where it's like he is so convincing in the way he tells that story, and like he puts the pauses at just the right places, and like it's so
Mhm.
natural, and yet you don't buy a single fucking word of
Yeah.
it. And that is
He's
such a
so
difficult
good.
thing to do in a performance, to be like, I'm playing somebody who's really convincing but is lying, and I need you
Yeah.
to see both of those at the same time.
He's truly one of the few actors that I can do
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
and roles like that,
It's amazing.
where he
It's
can be
amazing.
so charismatic, and then there's this underlying, like, you're just
This
terrified.
unpredictability. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Ugh.
he's so beautiful. He's such
Oh,
a beautiful
absolutely.
human being. Like,
And
his dark eyelashes and his
oh yeah.
eyebrows and his
And
fucking lips.
And especially here, he looks so much like Marlon Brando, which, like, he's always
Right,
looked a
which
lot
he
like
goes
Marlon
on to,
Brando, but yeah,
yeah,
to
which he
play,
plays in that
right?
biopic. Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's so funny. We
incredible.
said the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like I very much associate Marlon Brando with like the 50s and 60s, which is when this
Mhm.
movie was supposed to come out.
Right, right.
So yeah,
So
I keep thinking about
funny.
like, imagine if there was a version of the Orson Welles one that actually did get made that had Marlon Brando.
Can
Would
you
it look like
imagine?
this? Would it feel like this? Like, there's all
Mm.
the what
Oh my
ifs,
god,
the
I'm gonna
what
go
could
to
have
sleep tonight.
beens.
That's what I'm gonna think
I
of.
know. I'm like haunted by this movie now. Like after having read about the deep, like
Yeah.
I need this restored.
You need to start like a little campaign and get some like
Yes.
t-shirts made with
Oh
like
my
a fake
god.
poster of
I'm
what it could
so
be.
in.
I'm right there with you.
Yes. Okay, so those were our biggest chunks. We've got some juicy little tidbits in the making of, and then we're gonna round things out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But first of all, our cinematographer is Dean Semler, who is an Oscar winner. He
Wow.
also shot Apocalypto, Dances
Wow.
with Wolves, which is what the Oscar's for, if I'm
Oh
remembering
my gosh.
correctly. The Road Warrior, Beyond Thunderdome, so obviously did a lot of
Mhm.
work with George Miller. City Slickers, which shot like 10 minutes from my house,
Oh,
shot
funny.
like in northern New Mexico. Waterworld, The Bone Collector,
Yes.
Nutty Professor 2, The Clumps,
Oh my
my
god.
beloved Bruce Almighty, which I have not revisited in many years, but we all know I
Oh.
love Bruce Almighty. Click, Get Smart, Date Night, Secretariat, Maleficent, and Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. What a varied
Whoa.
list.
Whoa, some really like
Yeah.
film
Film
core
films,
films.
and then some Paul
And then
Blart
Paul
Mall Cop
Blart.
2. Yeah.
Wow. Secretariat's beautiful. I love that movie.
Just
Down.
like,
Any horse movie.
imagine the Oscar winning cinematographer
Damn.
of Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
Do you think that they put that on the DVD cover?
I
I'm
really
so
hope so.
curious of
If
what that
not, they
is.
missed out.
Truly, that'd be so funny to put
Right?
on there. That's
um,
amazing.
and because this was shot mostly on real boats, you see a
Mhm.
lot of Dean Semler alternating between these really wide exterior shots of the boats and
Yeah.
these really tight interior close-ups, which obviously
Yeah,
is
the
very
close-ups
dictated
are
by the space.
amazing.
Love it. It also really helps it feel very claustrophobic and like you can't get out, there's nowhere to
Absolutely.
run. But Semler also came up with a rad idea to get specific angles of boat exteriors, which I was especially excited to
Ooh.
share, since I know Travis has shot a lot on boats and is
So
gonna
many boats.
understand
So
a
many
little bit of what I'm
yachts.
saying more than I do, actually. So there are these things called halyards, which are cables that are attached to the masthead. So like,
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
long cables. Um and he used the halyards on the Ingram's boat to quote unquote swing his camera operator far out over the water for a couple
Oh,
of spectacular
yikes.
shots. So he's got the cam up like cantilevered out over the front of the boat
Oh god.
attached to it, which I'm
That's
like,
scary. Like
yeah,
little pirates swinging around.
terrifying. I know. I know. Trav says,
Trav, did you do
amazing.
that? Is that how you shop below decks?
I was so delighted to find that.
We had
We had
drones.
drones. Okay, yeah, that's
Boo, boring.
okay, much
Boring. Tomato,
safer.
tomato.
Much safer. But imagine if you didn't have
Wow.
drones and all you had was like swinging yourself from the
Oh my
halyards.
god. Terrifying. Would want to
um
do, but terrifying.
Terrifying, but so brilliant. And so like there's a couple of specific shots where you're like looking out
Yeah.
at the boat from afar, but like you're moving with it. That's how they shot it. Um
Dang.
and I imagine this will also feel familiar to Travis. The necessity of coordinating so many different boats, both on and off camera. So the boats that are
Mm-hmm.
being shown versus the boats that are carrying equipment to do the
Yeah.
showing for each shot was especially tricky. And director Philip gives an example of this, recalling the scene where Sam Neill like tries to leap back onto the boat but misses and falls in the water.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah,
So horrifying.
I was like, oh God,
So
they did that.
scary.
They did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you could tell like they really did that. Like,
Yeah.
so director Phillips says, quote, about how they shot that, there's 2 divers underneath the water. One's holding onto Sam Neill's left foot, one's holding onto his right foot. Then there's a dinghy behind him that's anchored in 2 spots, and then the big 150-foot boat is behind the 2 of them. That's being held there by 2 tugboats, which you can't see in the film, and of course, our camera's on another boat. Just imagine that, trying to get all of those elements to line up. Which,
Yeah.
like,
That's
yeah, just for one shot. For one
trust me,
quick shot.
that shot had, well, it was worth, I was gagged
Oh,
at
yeah,
that.
I
I was
know,
like,
it's
oh my
terrifying.
God. I was like,
Yeah.
how did he not?
I
I was
know!
like, why are we doing this to him? Like, is he attached
Because
to something?
they've got a diver attached to each leg.
Okay, that makes me feel better because I was like, okay, I was like looking for a wire, of course.
I know.
Naturally. I was like, is
Yeah.
he like,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't see any
Yeah.
clothing.
What's keeping
being
him
tugged.
safe? Yeah.
Thank
Because you can tell
God.
that's really Sam Neill there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and that's the thing too. I was like, that's not a sun person. Like, you
no,
can
that's
see
him.
It does
Yeah.
not cut
No,
away.
it doesn't. It's
It
yeah.
really like again. That was such a simple but necessary thing to have in there because you're like, oh my God, what if he doesn't make it this time?
I
Because we
know.
missed it the last time.
I know. And
Ugh.
you've got like 10 off-screen boats to make it happen. 10 off-screen boats and 2 divers.
God, that's a lot of coordinating. My God.
So much. Production designer is Graham Grace Walker, who also was a returning guest. He did the 2005 House of Wax. I
Funny.
know.
2 House of Wax people.
Yeah, he also did Crocodile Dundee, Beyond Thunderdome,
Nice.
the 96 version of Island of Dr. Moreau, Queen of the Damned, Ghost Ship, Gothica, The Reaping, and The Walking Dead. Quite a horror
wow.
pedigree has
Holy smokes.
Graham Grace Walker. And I wanted to bring in a little bit of info about the boats in case there are boat people out there.
Yeah.
Dana is a boat person, and she got so mad that they kept calling one of the boats a schooner. She was like, "That's not a schooner!" And I've now forgotten what it is. I'm hoping she's gonna yell from below and hear me saying this, but I don't know what kind of boat it is, but apparently it's not a schooner. The real boats used were the Stormvogel, which was built in 1961 and had actually, it was a racing boat and it had won a crazy number of races by this point. That's the one that's the Ingram's boat. So it is like a world-renowned top speed boat.
It was beautiful.
It's gorgeous, right? And the Orpheus, the ship that sinks, was a ship called the Golden Plover, which at the time was mainly serving as a worse-for-wear tourist attraction.
Funny.
That ship, the interior of that ship creeps me out so much. Those like load-bearing mermaids with like blood dripping down their chests. Like, that location. I'm pretty sure I've had dreams about that since watching this movie. Like, it is so viscerally upsetting to me. And like it just feels very real. Like that kind of like sleazy, cheap, falling apart quality to it.
Absolutely.
Ugh, love it. Miller said that the Plover, quote, had a terrible feeling. Tiny little cabins, claustrophobic, just awful. And screenwriter Hayes adds that, quote, we also built a replica that we could sink in the film, obviously, but a lot of the crew who'd paid good money as tourists to go aboard the Golden Plover thought that we should have sunk the real one. It has since been sunk. The Golden Plover is no more. It basically rotted from the inside out or the outside in. I don't know.
To maintain.
Exactly. And it was ancient by that point too. So it needed a lot of love that it didn't get. And I'll actually shout out also that the head of the makeup department is Noriko Watanabe, who also worked on The Piano, Memoirs of a Geisha, Kill Bill Volume 1, Eternal Sunshine, Gangs of New York, Hacksaw Ridge, Power of the Dog. Seems to be one of Nicole Kidman's go-to stylists on a lot of her recent projects.
Cute.
So I think they've like developed a little relationship. Yeah, on a lot of those. She's not necessarily credited as like the head of the makeup department, but she's like Nicole Kidman's personal stylist, which I think is super cute.
That's really cute.
And part of the reason I had to throw this in here is because she also married Sam Neill the same year this film came out, and they were together for almost 26 years before divorcing.
I didn't know that. I know nobody's love life.
I know, but like I think
really
I think he was single for most of the end of his life, but this was his longest marriage was to Noriko, who he met on this movie. So
way.
also had to give a shout out to that. Head of VFX is Roger Cowland, who also worked on Beyond Thunderdome, Crocodile Dundee, The Howling 3, which is the marsupial one we talked about,
Oh,
Night
dang.
at the Museum, Pulse, The Host, Goblet of Fire. Obviously, we hate J.K. Rowling in this house, but I do think
Yeah,
the special effects on that one were pretty good.
I know.
Um, and Iron Man. He worked on Iron Man too.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Man, so
and
good.
and the composer is Graham Revell, who I think is probably our most covered composer of the entire podcast at this point, and I did not realize it until I wrote out this list. I
Oh my
know,
God.
that was the same face I was making. I was like, I know
The
this
composers
name.
always like stick out to me, and I'm like, I don't know that.
I know. And he
No,
did
the
so
name
many of
sounds a
our
little. The
little
last name
familiar.
sounds familiar, not the first name. Grain.
Graham. It's
Graham.
Grame.
Oh.
Graeme. Apologies.
Oh, Graham. Is it not
Yeah,
Graham? It's Graham.
yeah. I've heard it pronounced different ways, but yeah,
Oh.
Graham Revell.
Okay. Yes. 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 Yes.
Ringing a bell.
Yes.
A bell for
You said.
Revell.
I thought you said grain. I'm so sorry.
Okay, that would be a
I'm like
very weird
grain now.
name.
Revel. Huh? So
Do you,
sorry, Sienna.
no, don't. I pronounced it weird.
Okay.
Do you?
Yes.
Is it ringing?
I
Any particular
can't name
bells?
anything,
No
but
worries.
it's absolutely.
One of
It's been a
them.
minute. It's been a minute. I know that.
One of them was pretty recent, actually.
Fuck.
One was like really recent.
Jesus Christ.
He did Bride of Chucky.
Oh, did I talk
He did
about
Bride of
music on Bride of
Chucky.
Chucky?
I don't know, so it's
I
possible
don't think
you
I
did mention him for that.
did.
There you go.
That's rude
No
of me.
worries.
Now
Okay.
I'm annoyed that I didn't.
But listen to
I
the
sk-
other films we've
okay.
covered that
Yeah,
this man composed.
I skipped music on that one
Okay,
purposefully,
that
and
makes
now I'm
sense.
annoyed that I did. Okay, got it.
Well, we get to talk about him more here.
Locking
So, in addition to Bride of Chucky, he also did Idle Hands, Dusk Till Dawn,
Makes
The Craft,
sense.
and The Crow.
Makes
So
sense.
this
These
is
all
our
make sense.
6th Graham Revell
Oh my
composed score.
God.
Like, that has to be our
Also-
most for a single composer.
I feel like all of those films, yeah,
They're of
might
a
be.
piece, right?
They're like,
they're
and then
yeah.
this one's so different. So I kind of
It
like
is.
love that
Mm-hmm.
open up so many things.
I know. And
Wow.
I'll read you some of the other things that he's worked on
Yeah,
that we haven't
please.
covered. He also did Child's Play 2, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, Hear No Evil, The Crush, The Basketball Diaries, Strange Days, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, Open Water, Chronicles of Riddick, Sin City, the 2005 version of The Fog, Pineapple Express,
Wow.
and the TV series Gotham. But this was actually...
I love Gotham. Okay.
That's
Wow,
Graham.
he's cool.
And this was actually his very first score for a narrative feature. So this is the one that started it all.
Oh man, we got so many good things from him.
And he'd done like one doc and a couple of shorts and some music videos for his band, which is called SPK. But you can really credit Dead Calm for being the launch pad for all those other horror scores that we've known and loved.
Dead Calm gave us so many things.
I know. Like, it gave us Nicole Kidman, it gave us Graham Revell, it gave us Billy Zane. Like, it's the film that keeps on giving. It gave us the weird Orson Welles controversy.
That Sienna will never be able to go to sleep and not think about.
Literally. I'm gonna have nightmares about it tonight. Orson Welles will be haunting my dreams for revealing that he might have just dumped his own movie. And speaking about what he was looking for in the score, Miller said that, quote, I had a firm belief, a fear really, that because of the very sensitive nature of this particular film, with its sparse elements, that it was almost impossible to write music for it without overpowering the picture. We needed something timeless, almost liturgical, a sense of expanse and timelessness like the sea itself. And so what Graham ends up putting together, there's like a soprano voice singing Latin elegies. I think it's elegies, but singing in Latin. And a lot of it is just that, percussion, and somebody hyperventilating. And that's like what the majority of the score is built out of. And it is so effective.
Yeah, the breathing is so good. It's and that's so true. Like anything more in this would have made it feel like
it would be completely overpowering. Yeah. They really like walked such a fine line.
I love composers. God damn it.
Which like I love that then he goes on to compose for all these things that are very like he does like broad comedies and he does horror comedies and things that like are very like have room for much more like present scores than
Yeah.
this, but where he started was so sparse.
Yeah, but that's such a
Um,
smart, like, that just really showed how smart he
how
was at
talented.
composing
Yeah,
for film.
absolutely. So now we're moving on into the release, but before we get to the wide public release, we of course have to talk about the dreaded test screenings.
Oh no.
Because as one would expect from what we breadcrumbed at the beginning of this episode, audiences at those screenings do not like the ending. Um, at this point, the film ends not with the explosion that we get in this current version. It ends with Ray setting Huey off to die drifting at sea and then saving her husband.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. That feels like the conclusion of the narrative.
Yeah.
The problem is, so studio sends them back to go to reshoots, and as director Phillips says, quote, they wanted more closure. The audience felt as if Billy's character was still out there and they expected him to come back. They thought that they'd been robbed of a finale. So we went back a year later and we shot a new ending, which was much more
Yeah.
conventional. And I know, that's a long time to have to wait to get back to it. And looking back on it, I think if we made the film now, we'd have an easier time with a more ambiguous ending. So like he knows.
Yeah.
He knows
A
that that's not the
fate
right
worse
ending.
than death, I think, being
Yes.
killed is you're just rotting out there. That's what I
Absolutely.
loved that. And I was like,
And oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, you go.
It also is a tie into the real life story with the 11-year-old girl left floating at sea. Like, that in itself is like,
Oh.
especially, and I understand why people would think that leaves it open, but I think that's more interesting. Like, he could have survived that, and isn't that scarier? Um,
Yeah. That's why I did make the joke because I was like, it kept going on.
yeah.
And we
Mm-hmm.
saw the raft come back, and I go, that
Yep.
motherfucker's on the other side of the boat clawing
Of
up.
course he
And then
is.
it wraps around, shows his handprint. I was like, I
Absolutely. Yeah.
fucking knew it. That's fucking
Absolutely.
corny
Yeah,
ass.
that's the only really predictable beat in this movie, I think.
Yeah.
And it's so sad that it's right at the end. I do love the shampooing bit where like she thinks it's her husband and it's actually him.
Listen,
That's like
there's him, the flare going into him and that effect shot of his head glowing was incredible.
I mean, it's like pretty good for 1989.
It's so good.
It's just goofy as shit.
It
Like
makes no sense for the movie. I mean, there's
Well,
funny moments, but like
yeah.
not that kind of like slapsticky
No.
humor. Like,
It's very, like-
boing, gotcha.
Yeah. And it also feels so like between that and the ending of your film, it's like they're all trying to do a Jaws exploding the shark. And it's like that only worked one time. You
I
can't keep
know,
going back
they
and trying to
did,
explode the
yeah.
same old shark.
It's gonna keep happening every 10 years. Yours was 89, mine was 99. Every 10 years, that it's exploding.
No,
Someone's
we're cursed by the
exploding.
exploding shark or the exploding sea ending at least.
Yeah.
I honestly like. I think that even at the time, the film would have done better if the studios hadn't been so intent on giving the
Yeah, me
audience what they
too.
want. Like, honestly, sometimes audiences, we don't know what's good for us. Like, sometimes test screenings are dumb. A lot of times test screenings are dumb.
Yeah, like, does it serve the story at the end of the day? And it's like, if
Right.
you agree with the audience, then sure, like, make a case
Yeah.
for it, but like,
Sure.
or not, or whatever. But yeah, I don't feel like that was right for this movie
Absolutely.
in any. Unless you want to laugh
Absolutely.
like I did at the child flying through the
Exactly.
frame at the beginning, which I thought was funny as
It's
hell.
so
Sorry.
bad. It's so bad.
Traumatic, but it's corny also.
I'm like, I don't need to know about that. I would be so fine
Baby
with us
gauge
just
it.
starting with
Have
them
a
on the
shoe fly.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
Or just start us on the fucking boat. Like, I'm fine with that. I don't need to know their backstory. I'm
know,
there
right?
for
It never comes up again.
it doesn't, which it feels like it's going to.
Yeah,
And
it kind
like
of sets
if
her
it
off of, like-
did, yeah, I guess like the only reason we need it is so that there's a reason that she's got the sedatives, but like there's plenty of reasons why a housewife in the 80s would have sedatives anyway. Like, let's be real.
Yeah. She could, anything could be stressful, you know?
Yes, exactly.
So.
Like, we don't need to have her son go flying through the windshield to get us to that plot point.
Truly.
So a little bit of overkill.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a guess at how much it made?
I don't know, actually. Did it do well?
It
Did it fine? Did it make its money back?
It just Trav says love of the drug. Yeah, that'd be on brand for the character. It like basically just makes its money back.
Okay, that's how it feels. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't do bad, but like, I can't see this being like really in '89 being like a movie people are going to see.
which is a
necessarily.
damn shame because it's so good. Like
Listen,
it's got so many good twists. It's got so many. It gave us so
I'm
many
late to seeing
things.
it.
But yeah, it's
So,
really underseen, I think.
yeah.
So it
Yeah.
made 2.4 mil Australian dollars in Australia and another
Oh,
7.8 mil US dollars worldwide. So it
wild. It
just
didn't
about
do
broke even.
Deep Blue Sea did better overseas than it did in the US. So I find that really interesting that
Interesting.
yours I would have thought
Yeah,
yours would have done better in
absolutely.
Australia.
Yeah, making just 2.4 mil from a
Hmm.
hometown crowd seems small, but
Yeah.
I guess it's a smaller audience base there. I don't know. Um, but it's a shame because it's like a pretty
It's
tight
great.
budget for the film that they made. Like,
Yeah.
I know it's only 3 characters, but there's a lot of stunts. It's all
Mhm.
shot on open water. Like they're doing so much, and to make it
Yeah.
for basically 7 mil, like that's on the cheap. And the fact that they didn't even really make a profit off of it with stars who go on to be such major box
I
office
mean,
players
huge.
is
Yeah.
so sad, especially because it's like it's the movie that gave us like the casting in Jurassic Park, the casting in Titanic, like so many things come back to this movie. And it's like so underseen, but it does get very positive critical reaction,
I believe it.
which I think like we see more frequently from horror that like leans on the
Mhm.
thriller side of the spectrum. Those tend to be the ones that people like embrace more quickly. Um, so it holds an 82% from critics, just a
Nice.
63 from audiences, which
Oh,
baffles me.
weird.
I'm like, are people
God,
just
it's such
rating
good
based
per
on that final minute? Like, what's happening?
Well, Nicole Kidman her character pisses me
She's
off
she's frustrating
greatly.
at times, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
However,
think her
it shouldn't
performance is
that
incredible though.
has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Though really at the end of the day it's still a great movie.
Ebert actually also gave this a 3 out of 4 stars.
Oh
He
my
gave our films the same rating.
Never has happened, I don't think, on
I
this
know.
podcast.
And he says, quote, a plot like this is probably impossible without two ancient movie traditions, the talking killer and the undead dead. Time and again in this movie, the story would be over if anyone, simply pulled the trigger. This is what you were saying.
Mhm.
There's a moment where the wife temporarily has the upper hand against this madman who's assaulted and beaten her and left her husband to drown. And what does she do? She ties him up, and with a knot in the front, too, where he can get at it. Later in the film, he appears to be dead. He reappears, of course, and has to be fought a second time. And yet, Dead Calm generates genuine tension because the story is
Mhm.
so simple and the performances are so straightforward. Which I
Yeah.
was like, that may be one of the like most lucid critiques I've ever actually seen
Yeah,
Ebert
very
give.
just on the nose, very simplistic, no
Yeah,
weird fucking metaphors, allegories, whatever the fuck he
yeah,
likes to do, drug-induced ramblings.
bringing in multiple
Yeah.
characters to talk to himself through
Yeah,
them. Yeah.
yeah. No, I feel the same though. It's just like at the end of the day, it's like such a simple story and it works. And
Hmm.
it's entertaining.
I
That's
agree.
the thing. It doesn't matter. It's just
It's
it's an
fun.
entertaining
It's
film.
it's a ride that
Yeah.
keeps you engaged the whole time.
Mhm. Mhm.
And in I think a podcast first for me, I got to bring in actually a quote from my own former teacher, which is
Oh.
really fun. I took a class on writing film criticism and film reviews from Karen
Mhm.
James, who is a longtime reviewer for the New York Times,
Oh,
and
nice.
she hated this movie. She hated it
Really?
so much. And
Oh
I
my
had to
god, this
bring it
is
in
fun.
because she had such a funny critique of it that I was like, I've
Yeah.
got to give
Oh my
Karen
god,
some
I
time in the sun.
love a
Um,
hate critique.
oh,
They're
absolutely,
the
especially if it's like
best.
well written.
Yeah, yeah.
She particularly faulted this movie for leaving Sam Neill, quote, who was so strong as Meryl Streep's repressed husband in A Cry for the Dark, co-starring here with a drowning engine and a temperamental radio. Which I'm like,
It's true
it's
though.
true. I just think he does a really good job with those co-stars. Like,
Yeah,
I think he holds his own.
that's the thing. Anyone else you would have been like, you can
Yeah,
just drown in
just
there
leave
a little
him.
bit.
That's fine. But because it's Sam Neill, we care.
We do. He's just so easy to care about in every
He
role.
is.
Like, yeah, there's something about him that it couldn't have been honestly, it couldn't have
It couldn't have
been
been anyone else. The
yeah.
movie wouldn't work with somebody other than Sam
The
Neill.
three of them are so perfect.
It's exquisite casting. So, like, in general, critics love the acting, think the ending's
Mhm.
ludicrous.
Sure.
I think I'm maybe like a little bit more lenient towards it just because I love everything that comes before it so much and the
Yeah,
pacing of it so
I
much,
love
but
it. I think it's funny as
good.
fucking hell, and it is. I
Good.
don't know. It is. I always like feel too like we bring these movies like Deep Blue Sea is not a serious movie, right? And it doesn't
Right.
fucking matter. It's fun,
Exactly.
and
It's
movies
a
can
good
be
time.
fun. And
Yes.
I felt like that ending was just so funny,
It
and honestly,
is.
was surprising for '89 for some reason for me.
It it's and again, it's like
You
pretty
know, and
well
I
done
loved
for what it
that.
is. Yeah. Like I
Yeah,
I I couldn't find how they did it. I suspect that they just did like a Billy Zane cast and just actually put a flare gun through it because that's
right?
what it
I don't
looks like to
know.
me.
Yeah, it's
Um
really. I have to watch it again. Again, I was just like, I was like, what the fuck? My eyeballs went out of my
It's
head
so
with I
stupid.
was elated.
Even knowing what was coming, it still had me laughing out
Yeah.
loud this time.
Yeah.
And it was actually nominated for 8 Australian Film Institute awards and won
Oh,
4
cool.
for Best Score, Cinematography, Editing, and Sound.
Nice.
Nicole also got nominated for a Saturn Award, and Billy Zane for the Chicago Film Critics Association's Most Promising Actor Award, although neither of them won.
Oh, that's sad.
Which I know, sad, boo. But I am looking through my watch notes here to see if there's anything else that I wanted to shout out. For one thing, I thought this felt very inspired by the chapter of Dracula about the voyage on the Demeter, the ship.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like there's a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that feels kind of drawn from that I didn't really pick up on the
Sure.
first time. And the other thing I noted was most unrealistic thing about this movie is Nicole Kidman not being a sunburned red tomato the entire time.
Right.
Like
I
the
know
fact
she's
that she's like
on.
totally fine, just gets like a little bit of a warm glow.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, they've been on there for what, 3 weeks, they said
yeah,
too.
like bitch you'd be burned to a crisp.
Yeah, give her
Like
a little bit of that makeup across the nose. A
yeah.
little bit of a rosy glow.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Mhm.
It's so true.
So that's
That's
Dead
so fun.
Calm. We've got
I
Billy Zane being
loved
mean to
it.
redheads on a boat. We've got yeah.
Sam
So
Neill being the
much.
best.
Sam Neill being the best.
So
We've
single
got
dad who works 2 jobs.
such stupid endings on both of these films. It's
It's great.
great.
I needed it. I needed these movies, honestly. These felt
Yeah, this
good.
this was like a nice little vacation for us. I
Mhm.
feel like
Yeah,
this
it
really
was
was
good.
like the easy sailing we needed after our it mammoth
Mhm.
researchathon.
Yeah.
Um yeah, and I don't know what our experience is going to be like with our next pairing. I feel like
I
it's
know. I'm trying to think
yeah.
too. Part of me feels like, well, because I was no help. I was no help because my brain can't think. Because I feel like one of these films, I feel like we like it's like the time to do it in the
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
and then I'm like a little like on mine, which I'm almost like thinking, did we poll people?
Oh, do you want to
I don't
announce
know
what one
though.
is and
I
then
don't
leave the other
know.
open?
What are you thinking? I feel like I'm gonna weirdly change my mind, even though I
I
think
think you
it's the
are.
best suggestion.
I think you're going to
It's
change your
not because I don't
mind.
think it's a good idea. I just think yours is such a strong, like the
Yeah,
one we chose for you is such a strong pick that we've talked about for years.
absolutely. Like we knew we
And
had to cover
mine
this.
was just kind of like we were both struggling
We were
to
struggling.
find.
Not because there weren't enough options, but because there were too many. So
Right.
I'm covering
Yeah.
Amityville Horror from
Yes, which I'm
1979, the
so
original.
excited to see.
And so we were looking for other haunted house movies, and
Yeah.
we listed so many,
Listen, we
y'all.
listed a lot, guys. We did Sinister,
So
we did
many.
Poltergeist, we
We did The
did
Conjuring, we did Dark Water, we
House
did
from '85 I brought up.
yeah. We talked about like yeah, so many films. We've gone through like 10 different potential pairings for this. Do you want to say what we
I
tentatively
do.
landed on? Okay.
But then I feel like you guys are all gonna have a good idea also.
Yeah,
That
that's true.
maybe
We
we
could
didn't
just say like
think
this is
of.
where we're at right now. Tell us if we've got a better one.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
feel good
so
about that?
I feel great about that actually.
Fabulous.
Cuz I feel like my brain is just like weirdly not working today. Or any day. But I will potentially question mark
Mhm.
be covering staying in the 1999, which I think is
Mhm.
like that's my thing too. I think I want to get out of 99 for a
That's
second.
fair. I very much
Um,
understand that.
The Haunting, which I love. I love that
Mhm.
movie. We also tossed around the original Haunting, which you've
Mhm. Which
seen,
I
correct?
love. Yeah, the
Which
63
looks
version.
really cool and I have
It's
not seen.
gorgeous.
However, I don't know. I feel like there's like a summer house horror.
There's got to be something
better
out there. Yeah. So tell us if you think.
Amityville
The
is
other one we threw
strong.
out there that we were debating was 13 Ghosts.
Yeah, but not a lot of information on that one, which kind of bummed us out.
Not enough to do a proper episode.
So I would love to talk about Matthew Lillard. So if anyone has sources,
there you
potentially.
go. So if y'all have other ideas for like summer haunted house pairs well with Amityville horror that you like better than 1999's The Haunting, let us know. Otherwise, we're tentatively moving forward with 1999's The Haunting.
I was going to say, to be fair,
otherwise.
We're having this conversation. I'm throwing up the poll like tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
So by the time you listen to this episode,
it's probably been decided.
You already might have voted and
there you go.
Us, and it might have been picked. So thank you in advance
for your wonderful feedback, or no thanks for not giving us better ideas.
I like when
thank
we
you.
do this.
Thank you all either way. We love when you weigh in. Yeah,
you're the best. You are actually all the best.
It's true.
We
you keep
only
us all
get
going.
Great comments from all of you. And
yeah, we're so
even
lucky.
those who like only probably watch our like clips. I feel like too. It's just like I don't care how you watch us, how you listen to us. Everyone's so fucking nice.
I also,
so
my God, after our on-air conversation last time about like, oh my God, we're now making episodes long enough that they cover half of somebody's workday. I think people heard us both having like an existential like freak out in that moment, because we got like so many sweet comments of people talking about what they do listening to like a full Splice and Splatter episode. And somebody said that they listened to it on like late overnight shifts. And I was like, I love that.
Where did you
read
that?
For your graveyard shift.
Where did you see that?
I'm trying to remember. It might have been on Spotify. I need to go back and check.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I missed that one. That's
really cute.
Oh my God, let us know where you listen to us. That's
I know. Yeah, I love finding
really
out.
Fun to think
about.
Yeah,
where we're keeping you company.
Yeah, I'm always like a road trip listener to podcasts, so I'm always en route to somewhere I'm very excited to go or very exhausted, and someone's keeping me awake on the way back. So
yeah, love that.
That's always my listening space. So yeah, oh my God,
tell us where you're
everybody
listening.
Tell us.
I love that.
Please.
Yeah.
The toilet, who knows? Bath.
I'm fine with it. Yeah. So yeah, tell us where you're listening from, and tell us what to cover next episode.
Yeah, please help me.
Help.
Yeah, I think you know what? That's good. Let's keep this one short and light. We say as each of our films was hour 20 because we can't shut up. Isn't that the point?
Travis says, I'm listening from one room over.
Oh my God, shut up. On that note, thanks, Momager, for all your little notes today. There's a lot. I feel like I'm just a lot of times.
Yeah.
Thank you to you all again for listening, and tell us what you want to hear us pair with Amityville, the original.
And where you're hearing from. Yes.
And where you're hearing from. Please share our videos with people that also love horror.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. It helps the word get out there for us.
It does.
That's very helpful.
Thank you to Theo Schaefer for the wonderful music playing us out. Thank you to all of you who also contribute to keep the podcast going financially. It makes such a huge difference. Even like there are some people who just do $3 a month, and even that makes like a huge impact on our ability to keep it going. So thank you all so much. Thank you to Al for being such a wonderful co-host and diving into this sea-bound horror with me.
I love these. Yeah, this is fun. Thank you, Siena.
And until next time, this has been Splice and Splatter, the podcast where classic horror
meets modern gore.
And until next time,
we'll
be right back.